What's going on? 6 o'clock in the morning. What am I doing up? What are you doing up? From the Superbook.com sports desk, I'm Robert Walsh. Here's what you missed from over the weekend. The NFC tops the AFC 35-33 in the Pro Bowl Challenge, and it was actually pretty entertaining. It had a lot of fun moments, including Stephon Diggs throwing an interception to his brother. I'm sure Thanksgiving will be fun over there. Peyton Manning being visibly upset at the result at the end of the game, and a random cameo from Pete Davidson, who I had no idea is Eli Manning's best friend, supposedly. Imagine those double dates. In the NBA, the Grizzlies are 2 out of 10 in their last 10 games after dropping one of the Raptors last night, 106-103. Desmond Bain scored 26 points and 4 assists in 33 minutes, but it wasn't enough to squeak past the Raps. And Brooklyn Nets, they traded Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a first-round pick, and multiple second-round picks. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
America. 602 in America's Music City. It's going to be one of those days. Welcome into Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Jonathan Schaefer in for Will Bowling, a little under the weather today. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran and Vol for life, his name is Ramon Foster.
Yeah.
Also have broadcast journalist, capital J, don't put a dot on top of that J, Kayla Anderson in studio. And also the world's best substitute teacher. His name is Robert Walsh. We also call him Bert. Good morning to everybody. How are we doing today?
We're good, man. It's exciting that you intro the show and your mic wasn't on. That was awesome right there. I was laughing with Bert. I spoke back to him, behind the glass.
You know what I thought I'd done? I thought I hit on. I hit off.
The red light signifies on, Shay.
I deserve that.
Bert said, I thought we were adults and turning our own mics around. Good morning, Schaefer. Good morning, Kayla.
Yo.
What color is that this morning you have on? Is it mauve? That's
Yo,
the color I've
man,
heard.
I don't know what color I have on. I just woke up
and
put something on.
Okay, cool. Well, I put on my UT orange today, so
I'm not on
that.
TV.
Okay.
You know?
UT, you always have UT orange on.
It's close by at all times.
It's not that far away.
It is. It's
Ramon,
close by.
Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. When trust matters, count on All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. All guests courtesy of the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Those guests today, coming up at 8:20, Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel. And at 9:20, former teammate of Ramon Foster, because we can't have enough offensive linemen on this show, Alejandro Villanueva, former Steelers and Ravens offensive tackle, also the lead NFL analyst for Fox Deportes. He will be the analyst on the Spanish-speaking call of the big game coming up this weekend. So big things going on for your teammate there in Big Al.
It is, man. It's hilarious watching these dudes get into media. When they joked me about, look at Mahomes getting ready for the media. And you know how many teammates now I have doing podcasts, media, or some type of like social media, just experiment and exploitation of themselves now? It's a lot of them. So I was just ahead of the curve. Like, look, stay out of my workspace, guys, is all I ask you.
So you were exploiting yourself before they were, is what you're basically saying.
No, I knew this was the route for me. Eventually, I just didn't know it was going to come in this fashion. But I'm grateful. I'm going to forever be working hard on it. And I'm going to forever criticize them for trying to take shots at me.
What do you mean take shots at you?
That's because when I won, like, we have, like, our chief award that we have is, like, the best media correspondent from the team. Yeah. I won that one. It was like, look at Moan. Oh, anybody need a quote? Go to Moan. I was just like, yeah, I speak well enough, and you guys are idiots right now. So, of course, I'm going to win this award. Offensive lineman won it this year, too, for the team.
Kaylee, do you think Ramon would have won that award playing down here in Tennessee? I think he would have won it at least once if he would have been a Titan.
Yeah, I mean, he played recently. I mean, so I would say getting a grasp on just the last 6 years, I would say he probably would be in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Are offensive linemen really that well-spoken, or is Ramon just...
Not all of us. I can agree with that.
I mean,
Not all
I've
of
covered the Titans for 6 years. I'd say most of the time I would not go talk to an offensive lineman. Now, Taylor Lewan, I actually enjoyed Taylor Lewan's presence in terms of he would actually say stuff that was interesting, would be quite honest most of the time. I know that not everybody is here for his antics. I, however, thought it was refreshing because nobody else really talked in the offensive line room. Ben Jones is a great dude, but he's not going to say much. Like, he's just going to be kind of to the point. He's not going to give you anything flavorful. And I really can't think of many other offensive linemen in that room that we would go talk to with the Titans. Nope.
Right now.
I mean, MPF, he's a rookie, so I'd go and talk to him, but it was one of those things like he's still feeling out everything.
Yeah.
Well-spoken young man when I've heard him talk.
He's an incredible young man, but he's just not comfortable yet.
There was a portion of me towards the latter part of my season. It's like, man, if I could squeeze out 1, maybe 2 years in Tennessee for building up a brand. I'll be completely honest. Like, I get why LeBron went to L.A. Like, I get why guys want to go to New York and all those types of things. Like, the opportunity for post-football stuff or post-professional sports stuff, like, you do want to position yourself for that. I had that thought on my last deal, like, are the Titans going to make a play? Pittsburgh came in super early with a deal. I was just like, all right, let's run it back. Like, I thought about the positioning of being here in retirement.
Black is slimming, though.
I mean, it is, of course, and I needed it, of course.
Look better than that. Speaking of Ben Jones, this weekend, now it was kind of a wild weekend when it comes to sports. Now, of course, the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. College basketball heavy. We'll talk about Tennessee, Auburn, and the rock fight that was. We had the Pro Bowl, of course, the Senior Bowl. We had NHL All-Star Weekend. There was even NASCAR racing over the weekend. But, of course, Ben Jones, a Pro Bowler for the Titans this year, which I don't want to take away that accomplishment from him at all.
No.
Considering it could be possibly his final year, so he gets that Pro Bowl nod. But with Tyler Huntley getting a Pro Bowl nod. But what are the impressions of everybody when it comes to the Pro Bowl festivities that we had this past weekend?
I thought the NFL did something that they usually don't ever do. They listen to the fans. I thought a bunch of the fans were saying, if you're not going to have it a game, make it fun. And I thought it was fun. My youngest was in tune to the dodgeball side of it. The what was it? The long throw or the target throwing that they had. Like, it was pretty cool to watch. And it's good seeing everybody's favorite athletes have fun with this stuff. So that's where I was. But I like it. You know how hard it is to get up for a game like that when you got to be physical as heck and it's supposed to be a celebration game? To me, I like this format a whole lot better.
I don't think it's really about us and what we think. I think it's about what the fans think. And from what I saw, the fans enjoyed it. That, stadium was packed. And it seemed like people were into it. And then on the other side of things, the players seemed to be into it. I mean, every time you kind of saw one of the games going on, whether it be the actual flag football game or just one of the side things that they were doing, it seems like the players were actually excited or just thinking of it as a competition, not just like, oh, it's some stupid games. Like, it is what it is. This is what the point that they were making is, well, we got to change it. Like,
right.
We can't have these players getting hurt in contact. And so they change it. This is probably the best thing that they can do, at least for right now. But most of the fans I've talked to said they enjoyed it. Me personally, I thought it was pretty entertaining at times. I thought it was there was a lot to it. There's so much stuff going on. But I think it's okay.
I think the most important thing is don't look at it as football and look at it as entertainment.
Yeah.
As you just mentioned.
And that's kind of what we're at now these days, right?
Because it's silly. It's silly. But not silly bad. Silly in a good way. Because I used to be that guy shaking fist at the cloud in the sky. Is that real football? No. Come on. It's silly, but it's okay. It's ice cream for breakfast.
Yeah.
And this is what I've really come to learn, especially over this past year. When they would do the celebrity golf and it would be Aaron Rodgers. And first of all, golf can get shot into the sun. I couldn't care less about golf. But I have to remind myself, take the football aspect out of it. And we as people, we as a society, we want to watch stars doing star things.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that.
And the stars in this situation, highly competitive people, or psychos, as I like to call you once in a while, Ramon, at least they're doing something competitive that's keeping them engaged in it. So, whereas previously I'd be like, meh. No, it's fine. It's harmless. It's ice cream for breakfast. It's silly, and it's something to get us through a weekend before the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday.
I think you get more out of it competitively because if it was games like the best diving catch, the tug of war stuff. Like guys don't want to lose those types of things, but telling me I got to go run into somebody just to get a bigger check or something like that, I'm like, all right, I'm good on on like the physicality aspect of it. Although I will say, I see Cousin Hightower said in the chat, somebody need to tell Jalen Ramsey how to play flag football. Ooh. Let me tell you this: having coached flag football, it gets crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. I put those foam rugby hats on my kids, on all the kids that I coach, just to protect them because flag it can be serious if you really got like two teams going at it. And then, of course, you got some of the world's best athletes playing against each other. That's bound to happen when he depleted Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, there were some good moments in that. The Diggs, intercepting the Diggs.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a great moment. I did hear there was one injury, though. I guess Myles Garrett dislocated his toe. I don't know what game it was in, but I guess the Cleveland Browns were like, yep.
But did you see him out there, though? Mm-hmm. The ultimate competitor. When he was playing dodgeball, he might as well
he's
been
intense.
Oh, my God. So I ain't going to say he did that to himself, but at least it's just a toe and it's not an ACL.
Yeah.
You know?
Saquon Barkley?
He caught one to the face.
Wow. But also, he dodged quite a few, too.
Yes, he did.
He's really good.
That was impressive to see. Like, I didn't think he could bend like that. Like,
yeah.
I figured he could. But he was on some Matrix stuff.
He's not an offensive lineman. He can actually bend and is flexible. There's no doubt. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. 6:14 in Music City, USA. You can interact with us via the Zone TV chat on YouTube. Also follow us on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will. I'm Jonathan Schaefer in for Will Bowling. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson here on this Monday. And when we come back, I've got some ideas for other activities they can do during Pro Bowl weekend moving forward. Next, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine now because people who have joint pain are getting real lasting relief without drugs or surgery. Has Ramon Foster, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting treatment where they use highly concentrated healing properties from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. If you have ongoing joint pain from arthritis or injury, you need to call QC Kinetics because don't assume that steroids and surgery are your only options. Times have changed, and regenerative medicine can get you moving again with no downtime. Stop taking the pain meds and discover this remarkable alternative that pro athletes have been using for years. Thanks to QC Kinetics, this amazing treatment option is now available for folks like you and me who are sick and tired of joint pain. Don't put this off any longer because spring is coming and you want to enjoy all life has to offer. So call QC Kinetics now, 615-249-4024, and get a free consultation with local medical professionals. The number is 615-249-4024.
6:23. Happy Monday morning to you. Bert told me during the break this is Harry Styles, who is a Grammy winner last night. Not that I would have any idea who won any of the Grammys other than Beyonce. She's close to 36 Grammys now, right, Moan?
Crushing it, man. I think it's 34-35. The winningest artist ever since the Grammys have been around is Beyonce Knowles Carter.
I was going to save this for later, but since he came back with a Grammy-winning song, one of the best things that happened this weekend, and it happened yesterday in the Grammys that were announced before the telecast, TSU made history. The aristocrat of bands won a Grammy in the Best Roots Gospel Album category, the first collegiate marching band to ever win a Grammy.
Man.
How
That's
about
awesome.
that?
Huge. The alert came across. I was like, what? Like, Nashville, stand up. TSU, stand up, man.
And
Yeah.
the year before that, the Fisk Jubilee Singers, world renowned,
Yeah.
by the way, have been around for 150 years. They won in the same category and won their first ever Grammy last year.
They sang at one of the NBA playoff games, I believe, one of the bigger games. They did the national anthem, and I remember that. I think it was a couple years ago. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I mean, I had known about the Fisk Jubilee Singers, but I didn't know that they were on that grand of a stage in terms of, you know, inviting them to all these things, which I'm like, man, get them to more of those events.
For real.
So HBCUs represent.
Representing, man. And what's so interesting, too, this is so fitting because when you talk about HBCUs and their bands, like anybody that goes to HBCU will let you know how much better and popular they are than the football team.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh, my gosh. And all that did last night was stamp them as being, like, overly legit.
I went to one of the John Merritt Classics years ago over at, it wasn't Nissan Stadium.
wasn't
It
Nissan,
was
okay.
LP Field then. I can't tell you a single thing that happened in the game, but man, the bands were great.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
I remember when I was in my first full-time sports job, I worked in Montgomery, Alabama, so I covered Tuskegee along with a lot of other schools. But I remember covering the first game at Tuskegee, and it was one of their bigger games. And I just remember the whole time I was on the sideline shooting the game, but I was like dancing in between every single, like, you know, break or whatever. And then when halftime came, I was right there just focused in on the bands. Man, it was an awesome experience.
It is.
So congratulations to the aristocrat of bands, TSU, the first ever collegiate marching band to win a Grammy. So one of the really cool things to happen over the weekend. Ramon, Kayla, and Will 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. In for Will Bowling, a little under the weather today. Robert Walsh, the best substitute teacher in the world.
In the world.
Bert behind the glass, and we won't get into it yet, but Bert had a rough weekend. You definitely want to stay tuned to hear more about that. Of course, you can interact with us on Twitter at Ramon, at Kayla, Will. The question of the day that we currently have up on the Twitter app: what activities should be added to the Pro Bowl games? You can respond to us there. Also respond to us on the chat, Zone TV on YouTube. I'm all into Duck, Duck, Goose, y'all.
I'm in on that one, too.
That one though, I could see some torn stuff because when you're taking angles and or you know, like you're kind of get going around the circle outside of it. Like I could see some ACLs in there because those guys are competitive.
They are very. Can you imagine like how quick those DBs will get up to like really chase down somebody and push them? Like it would be a tap and then it turn into a shove. You know that's gonna happen. To your point.
And then it gets chesty,
Oh, yeah.
and then they bump chest.
Oh,
and be
my
like,
God.
"What you doing, disrespecting me?" And then just gets stupid.
And then it gets real crazy, which is we want competition and fun, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A game that I would want to see thrown into it. Hear me out, y'all. It depends on what the optics look like. Paintballing.
Ooh, now that could work.
I mean,
Yeah, that could work.
as long as we don't have people talking about them playing with guns and, you know, that type of thing, like, I'm here
Yeah, but
for.
I think that's the problem.
But paintballing's a different realm,
I
though.
understand.
It is.
In a controlled environment, Like, that's what he did in high school. Like, paintballing was huge, and it still is to this day. Now they got these Orbeez, though.
There may have been a few road signs I vandalized with a paintball gun. That might have happened.
So,
Look, I should have been arrested for it. I'm not saying I'm proud. I mean, I'm kind of proud, but I'm not that proud that I did that.
one of my best birthday gifts I ever got was my sophomore year in high school. I had to wait for it. I had to wait for my mom got her taxes, okay? But she made sure I got a birthday gift this year. That year, I ended up getting a paintball gun. By far one of the coolest gifts I ever received in like my older teenage years. Like oh my gosh.
So then you just go and like
yeah.
do the stuff with your buddies with your. It's like you had your own.
I had my own paintball gun.
Okay, let me adjust it a little bit. We're going to turn it just a little bit.
Okay, tilt it.
Laser tag.
Now that could
I'm
work.
here for it.
We used to do laser tag. Back in the day. We had a
Laser tag.
huge, like in Spokane, it was called
Straight
Laser
up?
Quest. And it had laser tag and paintball. Yeah.
Man, I'd be into that for
Yeah.
sure. Laser tag, I'd rather paintball gun though. It was our criminal justice teacher that was taking us to the field trips. He also offered us to go to the prison too. I'm like, I'm not going. I don't ever want to go there. So no, I don't want to visit it. Why would I visit the county jail?
Adam on Zone TV, lineman sumo wrestling. Oh, that's some stereotyping
boy.
going
See,
on.
that's what they would want us to
What
do.
are we talking about
How come we
here?
can't have a dunk contest on a 7-foot goal, huh? How come we couldn't do that?
Because it's a 7-foot goal. That's why you can't do it.
we're vertically challenged.
Get your suggestions at 615-737-1045. Also on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will, and on the chat via Zone TV. You can watch the broadcast from there. Joey in Cross Plains joins us here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. What's up, Joey?
What's up, Joe?
What's up? What's up, my peeps?
No.
So I was just thinking about this. Why not set it up like the elementary, back in elementary school with the field day? You know, you got the potato sack race, the three-legged race, holding the spoon in your mouth, and you're passing the egg back and
This is so
forth, running
true.
across and everything.
Yeah,
You know, games and stuff like that from back in elementary school.
I'm here for that.
Absolutely.
That's
Thanks,
pretty
Joey.
cool.
Those are some of the ideas that I had in our show prep for this morning.
What's crazy is we called ours May Day. What did y'all call y'all? Just field day?
Field day.
Youth Field Day.
You field day?
It was the last time I was a good athlete was 5th and 6th grade. Because I was
What, when you did the shuttle run?
because I was bigger than everybody. She's not wrong.
Were you?
Yeah.
He's like Andy Reid out here.
I was a good athlete.
Big Andy Reid out here. That's who you were.
tell you right now, if I don't get on one of these diet plans, I'm going to be looking like Andy Reid.
No,
before
you
know
look
it.
good.
No, I don't.
Come on, Shay.
No,
Don't do that.
stop.
It's getting warmer. We can probably hit our afternoon.
I'm calling. I heard that. I'm calling PhD Advanced Nutrition this afternoon.
Look at him.
Seriously.
He's
My
taking
man.
action.
I looked it
He
up
is
over the
taking
weekend.
action.
I'm doing that this afternoon. Now, homie, I need you to be like, you got to cut my guy a break or give him some.
100%.
Right?
I'm
You
talking
gotta
to
help him
Rachel,
out.
man.
Yeah.
I got you.
You got to tell him to help me out a little bit.
Heck yeah,
You're going to
I
have
got
this whole
you.
place on what is
Yeah,
it?
PhD weight loss.
PhD weight loss.
Yeah, there's
I ain't going on
there's
that.
A couple of different
Nah,
programs.
you cool,
Well, you have
Kaylee.
no
You don't
reason
even got
to.
these problems. What about you, Bert?
Yeah, man, I don't know. Shaver's going to look like Danny DeVito and Arnold in Twins with you, man. He about to be, if y'all both going to be on that dude, y'all both about to be on that weight loss system, have him looking around, walking around like, hey, look at this body, look at this thing.
How tall is Danny DeVito?
I don't know. You look a
How tall is Danny DeVito?
you like a stretched out Danny
How tall is
DeVito.
Danny DeVito?
I think he like maybe 5 foot.
How tall am I, Bert?
Taller than that. Taller than that.
It's like 6'1".
Yeah,
6'1".
How big
And
a
you're
boy are
comparing
you?
me to Danny DeVito.
How big a boy are you?
Which, it's always sunny in Philadelphia. Okay, that's a funny character. You compared me to Danny DeVito.
I loved him in Matilda.
I go back to the shadows there, Bert.
By the way, Bert, let me just mention something. So last week, I was in my hot yoga class, and this was a HIIT class. So it's not necessarily, they have different types of classes. This one's like interval training. So it brings a lot of athletes that are now here in Nashville in the off season. They go and do some of these classes. So I'm in this class, and there's this really tall guy, and kind of looks like Bert.
Yeah.
Like has the ponytail, has the kind of the beard, the strawberry blonde hair. I'm like, damn, this looks like Bert, but this guy's a lot taller, looks like an athlete.
That's the end of her story. That was the end of it. That was it.
So at the end of class, I'm headed out there the door, and this guy's behind me, and I turn around. He has an Iowa athletic strength training t-shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
And I look over and I say, yo, bro, I was like, you go to Iowa? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, do you know Amani Hooker by any chance? He plays for the Titans. I cover the Titans. He's like, oh, yeah, that's my boy. And I was like, yeah, we always say they make the good ones up there in Iowa. Had no idea who this was.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm stupid when it comes to looks and like knowing who's who. Go and put on the Pro Bowl this week. TJ Hawkinson's doing the longest drive contest. It's TJ Hawkinson.
Oh!
Bert's twin.
Dang, I'm an ugly TJ Hawk, man. I'm going to have to get a TJ Hawk jersey. My girlfriend's always looking for ways to spice it up, so I just be like, oh, I'm an NFL player now.
Wait a minute.
Hey, look, I'm a
Wait
Hawk.
a minute.
See, Bert,
Whoa.
There you go with the
now
winner.
you are an NFL.
There, kids going to school.
Doppelganger.
Bert. Whoa.
There you go with the Winnie the Pooh description again, man. Come on.
Well, listen, okay, so I did move into a new house this weekend, and I'll keep it short. So we moved
That's what
in.
she said.
We moved in, and I came outside to smoke a cigarette. It was a long day. I come out in my front porch, and I'm accustomed to going out on my front porch in my undies. Like, it's cold. I like the way it feels at night to be out there and freezing and smoke a cig. So I went out there and I light it up. I do that, but I don't have a lighter this morning. I really sold myself down the river. And where I moved in at, there is a dog park across the road. So I'm out there, I light it up, I've taken that first drag, and I look, and my eyes just meet this woman who is walking the tiniest dog. And at that point, it was just too late, and I just waved. How's it going? Have a good night. Thank you, ma'am. Just blow the smoke into the night.
I think
Oh
we've
my
gone
gosh.
from these being just random incidents to full-blown exhibition. I think that's where we're at now, Bert.
My mom used to call me the naked ninja.
So
I'd hop out of the shower.
love it.
So basically, you're
It's
Frank the
hilarious.
Tank. We've gone from TJ Hawkinson to your Frank the Tank. That's where we're at.
It's the duality of man.
But
I can give you both.
reality of man, the potential though that Kayla gave you
I
today,
did.
Bert.
See?
Like,
Give me a little credit.
hey, dog.
You wait till I get these shoulders right. What's Ron talking about bringing sexy back?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a sexy back. That's about it.
Gonna pull a Will Bowling
But
here.
look at TJ. I mean, he's
Yeah.
got some of the characteristics.
Come on, Bert.
Other suggested activities for Pro Bowl games. Dylan says, there it is.
There's the snort, baby. There's the snort we've been looking
over
for.
under on the snorts today.
Oh,
We're,
that's
we got
gonna
one.
be the only
We're
one.
at 1.5.
Does look like
Only
Bert.
one. Doesn't he?
Dylan said a home run derby.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I hadn't thought about this one. JTB, American Gladiators NFL style. I like it.
I had a homie of mine hit me up and say the exact same. You know the one that would get me? The soft padded like sticks?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
In the foam
joust.
pit?
Yep.
The joust.
Joust.
Yeah.
That'd be
Put
good.
them on. Yeah. Boy,
That'd
can
be
you
fun.
imagine the hits that come from that right there?
Capture the flag. Another one that's been
Capture the
suggested.
flag.
I love that.
I like that one.
You know how like another one too, because we got to hit all areas of this shave. But what about the guys that are super like outdoorsy? Like your outdoors guy, fishing competition, and also a bullseye arrow competition.
Oh, like
You know how many
in
folks?
the Olymp, like they have like that's a legit
Yeah,
Olympics game.
I'm here for that, Kayla.
I almost guarantee this will be an activity next year. Cornhole. Why aren't they doing cornhole?
That's almost a must.
Dog.
Why are they not doing cornhole?
Well, it's because the Cornhole Alliance, man, has probably got people ready to snap ankles for this,
But that's
though,
the
too.
thing, like
Big Cornhole doesn't want it to happen.
I'm telling you, big cornhole don't want it to happen
That's what they used to call me in college, too.
for other reasons.
cornhole for Pro Bowl activities next year. Because they already broadcast cornhole on TV.
Why not?
It's
On
sponsored by
ESPN.
Johnsonville Brats. It's on the
is.
Ocho or whatever it is.
It shows on ESPN one time.
In the pandemic, it sure did.
And it's one of those things where you could have random fans also compete in it, or these cornhole champions. No, don't make a joke with that, Bert. I knew where you were going.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was actually going to throw in axe throwing. What about axe
no
throwing?
Why
Why
weapons.
not?
No weapons.
If we can do the bow
no.
and arrow targets.
No.
We talk about
Archery?
jousting, bringing horses and javelins and whatnot.
Owners aren't going to dig
How about
that, bro.
darts?
Owners, darts?
Yes, 100%.
Darts?
We played that in camp, and it gets
I
serious.
love darts.
Another one. Beer pong.
Yes.
It's already
Why
beer
is that not
sponsored.
one of the activities?
They probably don't want to promote drinking, but you could get.
I got a way to do this, though, Bert.
You're right.
You're already sponsored by the big beer, okay?
Celsius.
And
Yeah,
then Celsius too. But from that, also couple that up with Uber. Show them getting into Ubers, leaving. This is what responsible people do. We covered that up, Bert. We good.
How about just bowling?
Mookie Betts is blow everybody. I know he's
But he's
not
baseball.
He's
Good.
baseball.
Yeah.
Bowling would be
But
real
seeing
good.
like these big offensive linemen like trying to get get the little
Dude,
curve.
Serious. Yes. I got a curve with mine. It's pretty serious.
It was suggested Red Rover. Wait a minute. Isn't that just called football?
Yeah.
If you're doing Red Rover, that's
I
basically
loved Red
already,
Rover though.
That's already called football. I bet Kayla was a
I
savage in
loved
Red Rover.
Did you?
Oh yeah, and that parachute thing where you got the big parachute.
Yeah, the sprint.
No, remember
Which
the big
parachute?
parachute that you would like put up and then
yeah.
you have to like get it down. Like
Get under it
Yeah.
real quick. We had whatever happened to those type
I don't know,
of
but
games?
I love those things.
We also had trampolines in PE too. I think they got rid of those.
Okay. Putt-putt golf. Why not? Steph Curry's already
Yeah.
made it a thing into a TV show.
Or closest to the hole.
Yeah. Putt-putt
Yeah.
golf. Yeah.
I saw
I'd
Eric.
rather watch them play putt-putt golf than the stupid longest drive thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less about the
well,
longest
and
drive.
the best catch thing, just like the slam dunk thing, it's just not working. Like these guys are trying too hard, and like Stephon Diggs, like he looked like a complete fool yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, Amon St. Brown, that's different.
Right.
That his was actually legit, but I'm like, come on,
I saw.
you're trying too hard.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. And then, of course, you're trying to create, and it's not much you can do with that one.
No.
Yeah. I saw Eric Alonso say shoot craps.
Hey,
We're not shooting dice.
The World Series
Dominoes?
of Dice.
Can you imagine the money coming out of that one, though?
They could do poker.
We're not.
You could.
They could do poker.
Oh, that
They
would
were
be
in
fun.
Vegas.
Because I'd love to see who's
That
the
would
good
be
bluffer.
fun.
Who's the good bluffer? Who's the guy that's
Yeah.
front raising everybody? I'd love to see the
Well,
tactics.
I think Aaron Rodgers would be good with it, but you don't believe a single word that comes out of his
Ah,
mouth. So I
there
think
we
Aaron
go.
Rodgers probably
There we
pretty
go.
good.
That's the one we were looking
Poker
for.
player.
What about this for the big guys? What if we did an eating contest? But I think they should be eating separate things.
Like what?
Like you could have a pie eating contest. I would love to see people eating mini corn dogs. How many mini corn dogs
Yum.
can Joel Bitonio stuff in his face?
Or Little Smokies.
Little Smokies.
Oh, I love
Pigs in a
Little
blanket.
Smokies.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Corn. I don't
Yeah.
care. Figure it out. I just want to see big guys shoving stuff in their mouth.
I mean, that sounds like farm animals, but I'm here for it, though. You feel me? Like, that's what the big guys, we move when we walk in the field.
By the way, now that you mentioned corn, if you don't come back with that corn auto-tune song on the way back, you're getting fired today. That's for sure.
By the way,
I'll
what
find
was
it.
the? And I had one. The one where the tetherball.
Tetherball.
Dude, I would kill people
How do
in
you
tetherball.
actually play tetherball, Kayla? Does it have to
Oh,
make a
man.
full loop? I've asked this question before, and I didn't get a real answer.
I can't remember
All
because
I
it was so
remember is
long
like
ago. But
Napoleon Dynamite just slapping.
you just hit that thing. And I had my own tetherball pole in
Did
my
you
backyard
really?
just so I could practice. So then when it came to school out in the breaks, I could just school people.
Just with it, man. It just stood there on our playground, and
Nobody
unless-
used it, huh?
We didn't use it like that.
Tetherball, man.
Nobody actually understood the rules.
Some
We didn't have
fun
Google
stuff.
then.
Make your suggestions at 615-737-1045. Also at Ramon Kayla Will on Twitter. And if you're watching on Zone TV, where we are live, also Facebook and Twitch, you can make your suggestion. And as we head to the break, one suggestion that Bert will definitely appreciate. How about an onion eating contest? Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 1045, The Zone.
Fellas and ladies, do you want to be a real hero this Valentine's Day? You got to get the Genesis Diamonds in. Genesis makes it easy with the total romance package. It's the jewelry, the flowers, the candy, and the dinner. All the key ingredients for a memorable Valentine's celebration. And here's how it works. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, Genesis will give you a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers and a gift card towards dinner at STK Steakhouse. You know Genesis specializes in romance, and they have the lasting and timeless gifts that reflect and celebrate your love. This year, they've pulled together some wonderful Valentine's Day gifts rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable quality gifts. That will be a hit. And of course, if you're getting engaged this Valentine's Day, I actually got engaged on Valentine's Day, okay? Genesis can create the ring of her dreams with their dazzling GIA diamonds and designer mountings. Unlimited possibilities, too. Bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis, where you can spend $99 or more and get the flowers, the chocolate, and a gift card for dinner free. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. Also, limited quantities. See store for details.
Well, if you're just waking up and tuning that in, it's 6:49
What
here.
is that?
Welcome to Ramona, Kayla, Will, 104.5 The Zone.
What is this?
Never heard
Will
this.
Foster. Kayla
It's
Anderson.
corn.
I'm Jonathan Schaefer in
Are you
for Will
serious?
Bowling, who's under the weather today. Maybe he's eating corn. I don't know the whole story, Kayla.
Corn.
This kid went viral.
Yeah.
So it was
Okay,
like a corn festival.
Yeah, corn
Wow.
festival.
And they were asking him what he loves about corn, and he said just prominently that it's corn.
everything.
It's a big lump with knobs, and it has the juice.
And it goes right through you.
Yeah.
And he gave such an eloquent
Yeah.
answer for
That's
his age.
incredible.
And then, of course, like anything else, it gets auto-tuned
Yeah.
and turned into a song.
So that's what that is. Okay.
It's corn. You got to see the little
I've not
boy.
seen that.
Zach Bunch on Zone TV, it has the juice. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing, which are things that the kid said.
It was.
So it was
my
one of those
gosh.
things, just like the meow thing with
Yeah.
Ramon. It's just one of those things several years ago that took off. And the yeah dog was a long time ago. But what I learned with Ramon is that nothing happened in the world while he was in the NFL, that 11-year period. And he discovered it afterwards.
I
But,
did.
Yeah, that was it's corn.
It's corn. Yeah, the cute little boy. They had when school started back last fall. I think he had been touring because everybody wanted to see him and have him on their show and stuff like that. And they asked him, are you still going to, tour? And he said, like, no, my mommy shut me down. I got to go to school and actually learn now.
Oh,
Yeah, he became really famous.
it's
and
like
they
the
got a song.
yodeler kid.
Yes,
Right?
yes, it's
Mason
exactly
Ramsey.
that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
Mason
Where's
Ramsey.
that little kid at now?
He's still doing it, still
He's-
making songs.
Is he
He's
really?
like TikTok famous.
There's
making
actually
hits.
a song on that computer called Cow Farts that he did.
Get out of
I'm
here.
not
You
joking.
got to be kidding.
I'm not joking. But yeah, Mason Ramsey's still in town doing that whole thing.
Is he
You
here
go.
in the city?
I don't know. I mean, he might be on minute 13 or 14 of those 15 minutes, but he's still doing the thing.
Well, as
And
long
good
as-
for him.
Yeah, as long as he stays
Get paid.
good.
Right?
Get paid,
Just go
young
get
homie,
paid.
Get paid. Straight up.
The topic so far today, activities that can be added to Pro Bowl weekend moving forward. And you can respond to that at 615-737-1045. Also on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will. Tim chimes in belly flop. Hey, see, I don't appreciate that the big guys, the O linemen and D linemen, are being stereotyped like this. This is the only moment of my life I've
Yeah.
actually felt just an iota of sympathy to Ramon Foster and the big guys.
And now you see why I brag any chance I get and try to get offensive linemen on this show. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I do it right here. We get sent out.
So we
TN
should make him run a relay race then.
Absolutely. 5 too slow.
See,
Batman race.
There we go.
I actually won that big time in high school. by
The
way.
relay or the.
Okay.
Oh, heck yeah. The relay
Yeah.
smoked the other teams there.
Look at that.
And I was the last leg, too.
TM Gator Brett said beer chugging contest with the O lineman. Again, it's the O lineman. It's got to be the O lineman.
And I saw us eating wings and onions.
A game of tag, which I think would be interesting. But again, that's another one of those things that I think could get too competitive and somebody would get hurt.
It could go too far.
It could go
Exactly.
too far. Just like the Duck Duck Goose, I think it could go a little bit too far. Obstacle course, like old school Battle of the Network Stars, I'm not against that. But look,
What about singing competitions?
we've
And we've heard O linemen can sing.
I
Kelsey.
thought about that last night. You could do the Masked Singer. Just have your helmet on. It'd be the Masked Singer.
Oh,
See,
gosh,
if
that'd
they're
be
just
funny.
covering us
That'd
up again.
I bet
That's
you
it.
some of those guys have some good voices.
Yeah,
For
there's some
real.
really good.
Wouldn't they?
Yeah, no, for real. There's some singers out
Yeah.
there.
Justin in Murfreesboro chiming in this morning on Ramon Kayla Will 104.5 The Zone. What's up, Justin?
How are y'all?
Good.
Good.
Oh, good morning.
Hey, I think they need to add horse for our field goal kickers.
Now they did a tic-tac-toe thing, right?
The trick shots all over TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
That's what they need to add.
I'm here for that. That would be good right there. Somebody might get a new contract because of
Now,
it.
I didn't see it, but didn't they do like a tic-tac-toe thing with the
Yeah.
kickers or something like
Yeah,
that?
Morgan Cox actually ended up. I think his team won. He had a big time snap. It's so cool seeing him be where he is right now. This dude was
Right?
a walk on, man.
He's a great dude, too.
Playing linebacker, and now he's in the friggin' Pro
Yep.
Bowl as a snapper.
All-time great Raven.
We ain't asked for that.
Oh, Bert.
You know, we didn't ask for that, Bert. Justin, appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, Justin. I'm with that though.
More of your suggestions. Also, we'll be talking about Tennessee, Auburn, and Nick Saban Going back to a very familiar name for a very high-profile position with the Tide. This is Ramon at Kayla Will on 104.5 The Zone.
If you have a wet basement or crawl space, don't call Blaine with his singing tunes, okay? It's time to call United Structural Systems because we've all heard about these guys for a long time and for good reasons. It's because they've served Middle Tennessee since 1994 and they've helped thousands of satisfied residential customers. And they are the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. And if you do have a wet basement or crawl space, you don't have to put up with that. Water intrusion and moisture can give you all sorts of problems down the road, and you want to get this fixed. It could be because you have poor drainage or surface water flooding over the walls or underwater pressure forcing water into your basement, or it could be a plumbing leak. You just don't know. But the team at United Structural Systems will find out why you have a wet basement or crawl space and will give you a plan to fix it. And if you do decide to move forward, you don't have to pay a dime until the work is done and you are satisfied. So get that free estimate from the people I know and trust. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or you can call them at 615-227-2275. United Structural Systems.
7 o'clock. Good morning from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Robert Walsh. Here's what you missed from over the weekend. NFC tops the AFC 35-33 in the Pro Bowl Challenge that had a lot of fun moments, including Stephon Diggs throwing an interception to his brother, Peyton Manning being visibly upset at the result at the end of the game, and a random cameo from Pete Davidson. In the NBA, the Grizzlies are 2 of 10 out of their last 10 games after dropping one to Toronto last night, 106-103. Desmond Bane scored 26 points and four assists in 33 minutes, but it wasn't enough to squeak past the Raps. Also, Brooklyn Nets are trading point guard Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a first-round, and multiple second-round picks. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
.703, good morning. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Hour number 2 of this Monday edition before the big game coming up on Sunday. Our teammates in 3HL will be at Radio Row coming up later this week as Ramon adjusts his microphone with his mic being on.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ramon Foster, 11-year NFL veteran and Evolve for life, Ramon Foster.
Yeah.
Also, across from me, broadcast journalist with a capital J. Don't you dare put that dot on top of the J. Kayla Anderson.
I wish you would put a dot on top of it. Boy, we'll air this place out.
Oh, I'll take them all on myself.
I know. Okay, well, never mind. I'm good. I have your bail money ready.
Nice.
Were you not here for the previous
Get in the
segment
boxing ring. Let's go.
where she talked about how much she liked Red Rover?
That's true. That's
You
I
know
respect
she's
that.
carrying a blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that's what's
Switchblade.
going on.
And it's getting warm this week, and just my kids are my youngest is excited because they can go outside and play football right now. So Red Rover
Right.
should be a part of it. So that's right up your alley.
It really is.
In for Will Bowling, I'm Jonathan Schaefer. And behind the glass today, the best substitute teacher in the world. His name is Robert Walsh. We call him Bert. We call him Bert. We call him basically everything, including a degenerate. Good morning, Bert.
What's going on?
So,
That's it.
That's all I got for you.
DJ Hawkinson. Doppelganger.
I am running on fumes. I'm like when you try to start that old car up, like that's what I would sound like if I was a car.
we realized the best way to describe Bert is if TJ Hawkinson was really, really high and was on Dazed and Confused. The best way to put it.
That's pretty good. If TJ Hawkinson was a Simpsons
Let's get
character,
him on the show with Bert on the
We
show.
got to
Be
now.
great.
Next time you see him, you be like, "Hey man, I know you're twin. He's smaller than you, but he's got a lot of potential to be you."
he's rounder than you, but we could
Shorter
braid
than you.
We could braid our hair together or something.
There we
Who knows?
go.
Hey,
It'd be cool. I can French braid. We could just make a whole line.
For
Just
some
invite
reason-
Aaron Rodgers and have some ayahuasca, and then you'll have it all set.
For some reason, I actually do believe you can French braid.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can. Look. If you look
Dude,
like this,
can
you
you
don't
teach
have to have,
me?
you have to have a reason for girls to talk to you. So I used to sit behind girls in class and just like braid their hair or whatever.
I mean, you do kind of
This is
look like a
so
lump of
funny.
sand. I
like,
mean, that's
but how
true.
creepy would it be? I feel like you're almost in prison. Like if you just sit in front of me and you're like, I think the
Yes.
dude behind me braided my hair. Like what's
Yes.
going on? Why did he fishtail me? I don't even look good in this.
Hey man,
Zach on our YouTube chat, Bert Jockinson. That's going to be a new nickname for you.
Oh, I don't like that. That's
is
too close.
so
That's
funny.
too close.
Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four
Bert
Seasons Garage
Jockinson.
Doors. When trust matters, count on All Four Seasons Garage Doors and Nashville Professional Garage Door Installation and Repair. From a locally owned and family-run business, visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. All guests, which will start in the next hour, courtesy of the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, live on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Follow us on Twitter at Ramona, Kayla, Will. Bert, sometime during the show, we need to put a picture of TJ Hawkinson and you
Yes.
side by side, and we'll get it up on
Let's
the,
go.
on the Twitter feed.
A Pro Bowler even. Look at you.
no, Bert.
Yeah.
That could be a Pro Bowl hair
I was going to
braider.
say Bert's bowl is of a different variety. We'll just,
Yeah.
And he likes corn.
he does.
He does.
He likes
Like-
corn.
And
Iowa boy.
yeah, and he likes wings, which he had some this weekend.
But-
Oh, I
did,
see where
man.
he's
you
going
keep
with
seeing me
this.
run to the bathroom. You know
But
I had some wings.
There was an emergency this morning. Bert didn't have his lighter.
I still don't have a lighter.
No.
I'm down bad, Kayla. I was literally
Dang.
running around the studios looking for a magnifying glass. Anything.
I know, right,
that
to
I
spark
could
a flame.
get this cig lit. If anybody wants to drop a lighter off of the studio, don't do that. Go to work. I have a problem.
Now,
Can you go in your car? You guys remember the
you
thing
use
where you
cigarette
just
lighter in your
They
car.
don't
Yeah.
have those
They
anymore.
still have
I don't
those?
think. No, I've gotten like every vehicle I've had did not have the push in thing on.
Now, so the cigarette lighter's been replaced by, hey, I need to power up my phone.
oh
That's
yeah,
what it
yeah.
is.
100%.
Yeah,
No.
they're all PowerPoints.
How
Bring
many-
back the good old days, man.
What,
Come
with
on.
the ashtrays in the door?
That's right. Our Oldsmobile had
Yeah,
one.
my granddaddy Cadillac had one.
Serious, that Cadillac with the leather seats, and she used to have burn holes
Sure.
on the side of her seat.
On the cloth seats?
I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I forgot about
You
that.
remember ashtrays used to be in the
Yes.
front where you pull the drawer
Yes.
out, that one, and then in the back doors back there too. And it also had the lighter starters in the doors too. You get your a Caddy DeVille. Oh my God, that thing was luxury.
Let's not forget, we used to smoke on airplanes, boys and girls. This is where we used to be as
I'm
a
glad I
society.
did not have to experience that one.
I remember when the state law got like really made a law here in Tennessee where if click it or ticket, like we didn't ride around with seatbelts. Like I remember I was like, we got to put on the seatbelt. I was like, yeah, the police will stop us. My stepdad's like, I was like, wait a minute.
So growing up, my dad never wore a seatbelt.
Never?
Never wore a seatbelt. I went, Dad, you should wear a seatbelt.
Sure.
We don't want you to get in an accident and get hurt. He went, son, I fought in Vietnam. I fought for this country. If I
Yeah.
don't want to wear a seatbelt, I ain't going to wear a seatbelt.
Yeah.
I went,
there
I
we
guess
go.
you're not wearing a seatbelt. That's the best way to put that.
Yes, sir.
And by the
sir.
way, for those of you driving your kids to school today or wherever you're going, Bert is the advertisement of what you don't want your kid to grow up to be.
Such a sweet child, though.
From this weekend, let's see, we had college basketball, which we'll discuss more in the next segment. With battered Vols syndrome, it's there. It's real, and it's not so spectacular, that's for sure. Had the Pro Bowl, Senior Bowl, NHL All-Star Weekend, NASCAR racing at Los Angeles Municipal Coliseum last night. Watched a little bit of that. Senior Bowl, Kayla. One of your guys, even though he beat your Cougs, but a guy that you were excited about at the Senior Bowl out of Fresno State. I wonder how much that
Hainer.
quarterback in Jake Hainer maybe improved his draft position over the practices in the game.
Well, first of all, it was a big happy family because Deion Henley, who had a spectacular week and game, was teammates on the national team
Yeah.
with Jake Hainer, and they went on to beat the American team in the Senior Bowl this weekend, which I thought was actually great football. It was really cool to watch these guys after spending the week there in Mobile. But I think Jake Hainer, if you listen to us earlier in the week, we spoke about him pretty early on and said, hey, look out for this guy as just that Brock Purdy. And I'm not trying to compare him at all to Brock Purdy, but just now that Brock Purdy has kind of put that type of quarterback on the map, maybe you don't have to be the highest draft pick. Maybe having those 4 or 5 years of experience in college can prepare you to be that guy that can step up when needed, like Purdy did. And Jake Hainer, man, that guy is a tough dude. He has a little bit of swag to him too. But I'll tell you this much, and you could see it with that team. People want to play for that guy.
Yeah.
His Fresno State Bulldogs, if you watch the game against Washington State where they destroyed us, like his guys were doing it for him.
Yeah.
And he's been hurt. He was hurt too. Well, he wasn't 100%. So I thought it was cool to see him kind of get the praise during the Senior Bowl in that game. He had a pretty good game, was MVP.
Yeah.
And really, I think if Hendon Hooker was there, he would have been the best quarterback. But I think Jake Hainer proved that he was that guy this week.
Another man's misfortune is another one's opportunity, and that's what it was for him this weekend. I thought the quarterbacks weren't that great. You know, Max Duggan was cool, but I don't know what Max Duggan's going to be.
Me too.
The one guy that separated himself was Hainer, right?
Sure.
Like legitimately, as far as the receivers being able to highlight themselves, you didn't really see that this weekend because of the quarterback play. And the other side of it was Hainer was the best throwing quarterback there. The kid out of Louisville was a better athlete.
And he got hurt during the game, unfortunately. Yeah.
But Hainer, I think, was probably the best. I was telling folks, they asked me about the Senior Bowl. It's like the best quarterback there was wearing a knee brace, and that was Hendon. but Jake Hainer being a guy that really performed, he made himself some money.
He did.
Yep.
7:12 right now in Nashville. Coming up next, battered Vols syndrome. Engage. This is Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Are you preparing for the big game this weekend? Lee Company currently offering a special $99 off TV mounting and installation for your big screen TVs. Now, with Lee Company, electrical, plumbing, heating, cooling, they do all of that. They'll also take care of mounting that big screen TV for the big game. And at Lee Company, they make sure to give you a modern look. Now, no one wants to see messy wires when you spend that much money on your television and putting it up on the wall. You don't want to see those wires. Lee Company takes care of that. Don't miss out on this great deal before kickoff on Sunday. Lee Company. Call them 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company, 615-567-1000. Also available online at leecompany.com/promotions. Lee Company, all you need. 7:20. Ramon, Kayla, Will, 104.5 The Zone. Live currently on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also follow us on Twitter at Ramon at Kayla Will. Mike Wilson coming up at 8:20 from the Knoxville News Sentinel. Another offensive lineman. Alejandro Villanueva joining us at 9:20, courtesy of Fox Deportes. He will be on the call for the big game this Sunday. 615-737-1045. Eric in Nashville joins us now on the show. What's up, Eric?
What's up, Eric?
Hey guys, I've been kind of in and out this morning, but here's some I've got, guys, to see what you think of them. I've got several. How about a tug of war over either water or over mud? A sack race, a three-legged race, a chasing a block of cheese down the hill.
No, you can't do that. Someone's going to get a busted bone. You can't do that.
All right, yes,
Sorry.
okay,
I
right.
like it. But
It's very
you can't do it.
strong consideration, though.
Shut up.
Yeah. An axe throwing contest, an archery contest, or how about these, which are more simpler? Taking either a grapefruit or an orange under your neck and passing it to somebody else.
Whoa.
Stuffing your mouth full of marshmallows to see if you can't say chubby bunny. Peanut butter crackers in your mouth and trying to see if you can't whistle. I mean, those are just some of the things that I've got that just kind of throwing some things out there, like either a piggyback race or something like that. Those are just some of the ideas, guys. Y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Eric. 615-737-1045. I don't think the melon under the chin passing it back and forth is something that NFL players want to do. Not with each other.
No,
I don't think
not
that's,
that one.
That's a big no, fam.
Eric got some good suggestions.
No, they were good. Because that's the thing. I think moving forward when it comes to this, it needs to be either youth field day activities, which we've discussed several of those today, or it needs to be family reunion activities. I'd love to see you big offensive linemen play badminton. Love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Badminton wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Or now pickleball is actually getting more popular.
I thought about pickleball last night, too.
Pickleball is intense.
Look, if Barry Sanders can play pickleball, y'all can play pickleball.
How about offensive linemen doing sand volleyball in two pieces?
See, Kayla's here for the violence. That's what she's here for. She's here for the pony show. That's what we're here for right now. See, and there's always offensive linemen, but we get no praise. We have no stat line. We got nothing but mockery and jokes. That's it. No, seriously, we'd be on the practice field and we'd be moving to the other side of the field, and DBs or D linemen or even running backs be like, "Mrrr."
That noise is becoming something that I'm worried about at this point.
This cow's moving. I'm like, yeah.
By the way, that cow with that sound needed to be put down.
Yes.
You ought to hear the ones across the street from me and that big old pasture over there.
How come you make a cow noise and it sounds like a scooter? I don't think that's
Yeah,
accurate.
right?
You got to hear like the open plain cows. Like they.
Hey, look, where you guys had training camp, you were near some farms out there.
We were. But we shouldn't get that sound as we're walking across the field to another drill. That shouldn't happen.
You knew that was going to happen.
Get the herd going.
Get the herd going. That's pretty much where we were.
Phil in Gallatin on Ramon, Kayla, and Will this morning. What's up, Phil?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, I was wondering two things. One just came to me. The other one, first one, how about making grape juice like Lucy did with bare feet?
You trust our feet?
No. Y'all's feet are
I was
nasty.
wondering, I started thinking about how did they trust each other's feet back then. At least we got better soap products these days. Back then, there's all kinds of stuff going on, gout and everything. Hey, one more question. I don't know what that fungus that grows right up under your toenail look like tree limbs.
Whoa!
What?
That might have been just my family. Don't let nobody know about that. But no, I guess I'll close out on that one. I'll let y'all just try to think. Because listen, we like to go organic. Bare feet. I mean, that's natural as it gets right there. So y'all have a good day.
That's so
Well,
true.
I'll tell you this much. The first to participate in that, Ben Jones.
Ben Jones.
Ben Jones, who believes in bare feet.
Facts.
How do you win that?
In the wintertime.
I guess with the amount of liquid that goes into bottles,
Right?
the real question.
And then you got to drink it, right?
Oh my!
See what tastes better?
Well, you say that.
How about Antonio Brown frozen feet competition?
Oh.
The cryotherapy? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh God, let's not get on his that subject.
Get on his feet. But you know what, Kayla? Speaking of drinking it would sell. I guarantee you it would sell.
He says.
You want to know why? This weekend, somebody pinpointed where Tom Brady. Did y'all see it?
No.
Somebody pinpointed where Tom Brady made his video at to the point.
I saw that, yes, because somebody went and made their own video at the same place.
Not
You
even
are
that.
joking.
They picked up a jar of sand from where his positioning was. This jar of sand is now on eBay.
Oh, stop.
Up to $90,000
No,
bid.
stop.
Wait,
I wish
are
I was
you
lying.
serious?
Did someone actually bid $90,000, or that's what they were wanting the opening bid
prices
to
have
be?
gone up
Yo,
to $90,000.
that's ridiculous.
I wish I was lying. I'm looking
So
it up.
was this in Tampa or Miami where he was?
I think he was in Miami next to like a resort. Yeah, 100%.
This is ridiculous.
See, I think that might be illegal anyway, because in Florida, they ask you not to take the sand because of the degradation of
Really?
the beaches over time. So if they found out who this guy was, they could probably sue him or make him donate the money to the beach reclamation. Is it reclamation? What's the word there?
There's
Reclamation.
Yeah,
Reclamation.
you're right.
I said it right. Okay, it didn't sound right because I'm not that smart. But I mean, if that was the right word, I'm happy I found it.
I'm not trying to promote them because it's silly, but they got pictures of everything. Like this one has 6 days and 6 hours left as far as the bid. There are
For a jar of sand.
For a jar of sand, there are 119 bids on this.
Stop.
It's
I'm not doing
currently
this.
at $99,900.
And it's 119 bots
cannot
making
with
bids
that.
for
Yeah,
this,
my
too.
my card will decline.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that.
Now I'm
Right?
gonna log into my account and see if it actually if it's actually real people that is bidding
Yeah,
on
Ramon's going to make a bid on it. Right
it. Nah, I
now.
wish I would. Boy, you want to talk about
100 grand.
Ooh,
Well, we
no.
go from sand to rocks, the rock fight that was Tennessee and Auburn over the weekend. It was ugly
It was.
again, but Tennessee came out on top, defeating Auburn 46-43. Sorry, Babs. The 89 combined points are the fourth fewest between ranked teams in the shot clock era, so that goes back to 1985, 1986. It's also the lowest scoring game between ranked SEC teams in the AP poll era. That goes back to 1948-49.
Yeah, ugly.
The Vols shot 2 of 21 from behind the 3-point line. That's, by the way, boys and girls, 9.5%. That makes your transcripts really iffy.
That's bringing it down.
I mean, those are Bert's grades at that point. Tennessee has won games this season in which it shot 28.8% and 27%.
Pathetic.
Yeah, it goes down to their defense, though. It's their backbone. It goes down to it. Like Barnes is adamant. You see him coaching guys. I don't want to call it fussing. You see him coaching guys hard for like defensive mistakes. You find him in a position where he's constantly coaching. He's forever on them about the next play or the last play that they could have corrected it, and those guys receive it. For that reason, you win games like this, 46-43 with one of your in the last few games. Zakai Ziegler's been killing folks on the field. He had 3 points, all come from free throws. I think that's probably one of their best wins they could have because of the situation.
I'm a little bit concerned for the fact that I understand that this team is built on the backbone of the defense. And that's never been something we've really questioned with a Rick Barnes team. This year it's different because it's that much more of an elite defense. But we've been starting to talk a little bit more about, okay, when you do go through a day where you're a little bit of an offensive slump, you need a guy to step up. And as good as it's been that other guys have contributed it and it's not always one guy, what happens now in the tournament if you just have a cold day, which they have in the past? That's been the problem with this Tennessee basketball team is they've gotten into the tournament, the first, second round, they've been off offensively and they've been destroyed. And so now you're starting to think, okay, you got to recover from something like this. And we saw it recently too, where the offensive game wasn't there. You can't continue to kind of just play games like this and hope to win because of the defense. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because when it comes to the tournament,
it's a day's game.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. Like, I actually feel better about it than I did last year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like if this is the last reset you have before the tournament, then it's a good one to have because you won at home. The last shot at the end of the game. What y'all think about that one? The where he wrapped his legs around him should have been called because if it's called, he's going to hit 3 free throws at that point.
Now,
Yeah.
Savage is on the live chat on YouTube, where you can check us out, Zone TV on YouTube. And I saw this tweet last night from Ron. Honestly, if he hadn't have tried to sell it by doing a jackknife, I think he gets the call. But to wrap his legs and fling his body, you know they are not going to call that because it's not his shooting motion.
No.
Not even close to it. And I'm saying this not because it's Ron. I'm saying this, it's because he's 100% right. Yeah. And I watched that several times last night. I went frame by frame on that. If you want to call it from the initial contact, and the official's right there on the sideline 6 feet away, he's looking right at it. The official's right there looking at it clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go with the initial bump with him coming back down, not even so much going up, but coming back down, I could give it to you.
Yeah.
But I agree with what Ron had to say in that he flopped like a European soccer player out on the court.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way he looked like a jellyfish being dropped.
He did.
The way he just flailed all over the place. He didn't get the call. That would be a yellow card in soccer for what's called simulation, for trying to get the call in the penalty area.
Yeah.
So you're saying you think more likely the ref did that because he enhanced it?
I would think that, yes. And I think that's what Ron's saying, and Ron can chime in there on the chat if he wants to. But I think it's because the way he just looked so ridiculous coming down.
Yeah.
The ref looked at that and went, if I'm going to make this game-altering call, you can't be doing that.
No. And the other part of it, too, they had recently, early in the game, gotten a tech for a flop also. So that didn't help their calls either when it came down to them actually, getting that last second call. Who was it? Olivier, I think that was on him.
Yeah, it was a come one. Yep.
If you look at his left arm does slightly come down. Did he
Right.
straighten it back up? To your point, I think if he'd have gone into him and come straight back down, there was an argument there for the foul.
Because what I also hate is that when these shooters, and I understand why they do it because of how the rule is interpreted and how it's used, is that draw the contact. Lean in, draw the contact. I watched James Harden do it 40 million times in one game a couple of years ago. Lean in, draw the contact, do that. I hate that rule. I absolutely hate it. And that's the thing is that he didn't necessarily lean in, but coming back down, it's almost as if he leaned in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And at that point, Olivier's arms were straight up in the air. Like he was a statue. He was a building at that point.
100%.
Yeah.
I just think he flopped all over the place as if he was trying to get a penalty kick in the World Cup.
Yep.
And that went back to hurt him probably in the end.
And the way the game had been officiated the whole way throughout. Look, when we say rock fight, we're talking like Rocky Mountains rock fight. These guys were throwing boulders at each other. It was a very physical game, which was part of the reason the score was as low as it was.
Yeah.
If you're not getting that call during the game, you're not going to get it called in that moment. Now, there's a much larger debate to say if it's a foul, call it. Doesn't matter what time, what part of the game it's at. You can debate that from now to eternity, whether one philosophy is right or the other.
Right.
The fact of the matter is that Wendell Green Jr. fell down like the fish flopping around in the Faith No More video from the 80s, okay? He looked ridiculous. The officials looking right at him. And with that amount of simulation, trying to act as if he was fouled, I'm betting that's why he didn't get the foul.
That's 100%.
Because do I think it was a foul? I do.
It could have been a foul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe if it was a different ref, maybe he goes the other, goes a different way.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think you're right. The more and more you think about it and I rewatch it, because I watched it a few times last night too, because Travis was irate.
Oh, yeah.
He was absolutely
was
irate.
he?
Well, yeah. I mean,
And let me say this,
And-
as an
and the-
Auburn
and
fan,
you guys
should
are-
be.
right. And I'm not either fan, but so I'm looking at for more of a neutral perspective of things. But when Ron tweeted that out, I actually went back and rewatched it because I'm trying to go from a neutral side of things. And I would tend to agree with Ron that he's right.
He sold it too much. Yeah.
And by the way, Ron put a destroyed question mark eyes because I think I said something about in the tournament, the balls being destroyed. They were destroyed by Oregon State 2 years ago, which they shouldn't have been.
And I'll say this.
That was not a good showing
That was
at
an
all.
Oregon State team that
so
had no
maybe
business.
that's what I meant more towards instead of last year, Ron. Sorry about that.
The other part, too, of this is Auburn, though. Auburn's supposed to be one of those. That's top 25. Bruce came in with a lot of fanfare, too.
I know.
And the team he had last year was strong. What was he, number 1 and number 2 for the better part of last year's season? And he got some guys back. I know he doesn't have the first rounder anymore. But I looked at this as two similar style coaches. Very intense, very defensive strong with veteran guys they were trying to coach up. As much as I criticize Tennessee, I also have to acknowledge because he's back in coaching and for a reason. After NCAA sanctions, Bruce is good at what he does. And he wanted that game in Knoxville for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And his guys played like it. So I ain't gonna say I expected it. It's easy to say that in hindsight. I expected a game like this, but I'm okay with them winning in this fashion moving forward. It's better than them losing here to Bridgestone to a Colorado team.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
and a win's a win. Let's just say that
That
too.
is an early season game at a neutral site, and you see losses like that happen. And by the time we get to March, other than the actual L in the loss column, we will have totally forgotten about that Colorado game. Because stuff like that happens. And even the Florida game where they go down and they lose to Florida and they're not shooting well. And Ron brought this point up, and he's right. And you know this because of your experience playing the AFC North. You're going to go on the road against a divisional opponent, a conference opponent that you see often.
Yeah.
You're going to get beat.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
When it comes to Tennessee, though, it's ride or die with the 3-ball. It's that simple.
That's very true.
They have to be able to make more field goals inside the arc than what they've been able to do. It's been insane how if they're shooting the ball well outside in three-point land, they're in the 70s and 80s scoring.
Yeah, they are.
And now you're in the 40s and 50s. How it's just such a remarkable change. But that's what 7, 8, 9 three-pointers can do in terms of the scoreboard. The question for me is, in March, can the Vols win 6 in a row? Okay, because that's the goal when they get in the tournament, without a shooting clunker
That's
like this.
what scares me a
the
little.
guy in this that has to, answer this bell is probably Olivier Kamwa.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Texas game is where I thought he broke out more and more. He had the mid-range where you said, just keep the scoring going. He had it that game. He had, 27? You know what I'm saying? 3 for 4 from the free throw line when they fouled him. He had that type of game to sustain score. And I think that was the biggest conversation around it, too, is, when you look at this Tennessee team, yes, they're good. But it was Dane Bradshaw, I heard him say, but who on that team has the ability to go 1-4 flat? Basically, go get a bucket as far as star.
Sure.
I don't know if they have the guy. They have guys. If Olivier does what he did against Texas, then you got that guy that can at least keep you involved offensively. That's the issue. But again, defensive-minded team that has a knack for the 3-ball.
Well, I wouldn't want to be Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Because just like they got the wrath of Alabama after that whooping, Tennessee plays Vandy next. Dang.
And Vandy's going to be hosting Tennessee coming up midweek this week on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And to Vandy's credit, nice win for them over
good
Ole Miss
win.
over the weekend.
Yeah.
This team's still kind of, you don't know what they're going to be.
My thing is, can UT come here in Nashville? It'll probably be mostly orange too, right? And deal with Vanderbilt.
I'm not going to say that with Vanderbilt.
That Memorial.
Well, Vanderbilt basketball is a little different.
They are,
They've done a pretty good job.
I'm trying to say if we're going to go to, depending on my kid's schedule. That's the reason I bring that up.
Yeah.
But I say this: Stat got those guys physical.
Oh, absolutely.
They were physical in Knoxville, and here they're fighting for a lot.
But then you got a Tennessee team that they got to win, but they know that it wasn't pretty.
Right.
And controversial, right?
And they got a coach that really embraces that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can the Vols get and stay hot and ride that top-ranked defense, which, by the way, number 1 in the nation in points per game allowed. And they might be able to do that in March. Problem is, I just have my doubts. Up next, another great thing that happened this weekend. We'll tell you about it. Ramon, Kayla, Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster from myphdweightloss.com. Hear me out, y'all. Right now, we're going to get us some, early spring weather, and I'm sure most of you are thinking, man, I want to get out and be active. Well, you can get out and be active if you do more this winter by losing a couple of lbs. Everybody has it on their mind, and you're trying to figure out what's the plan for you. I'm here to tell you my PhD Weight Loss has a plan specifically for you, and it will work because it's worked on me. It's worked on Buck. It's worked on others too. It's proven. They are the brand. They are the weight loss company for a major Division I college football team that we all know and see in the ACC also. On average, most male clients lose between 3 to 5 pounds a week, depending on how you go about it. Female clients, 2 to 3 pounds. If this is something that's been on your mind, you want to get right this summer, heck, this year, go to myphdweightloss.com and be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Grammy winner last night, Kendrick Lamar.
Hey.
At 7:47, Music City, USA, the it city of this country, as it should be, as God intended it to be. Ramon at Kayla, Will, 104.5 The Zone, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson. I'm Jonathan Schaefer in for Will Bowling. You okay?
You all right over
You all
there?
right there?
Hiccup right
We've got
What's going on?
cow noises earlier.
Man. Bro,
a hiccup.
might need to go get that checked out.
Man, what's drink this
happening?
El Agua.
That sounded like a sick up. I don't know if that's a hiccup.
I mean, I'd expect that from Bert, but a radio professional like yourself.
I knew it as soon as the mic was on. I was
What
like,
is
yep, this was getting
happening
caught
there?
right here.
Live on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Follow us on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will. We have a poll question up right now on Twitter, and just put that question up about 15 minutes ago. Over 125 votes already in. At the end of the Auburn UT game, was it a foul? Yes or no? Simple for the poll. No, 54.8%. Yes, 45.2%.
Pretty close. Yep. Like I said, it was. I mean, I was talking to people, and I could see people were on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard one.
It really is. As a ref, though, I'm sure you go with let them play it out. The circumstance was there to say, nah, it's not a foul. But initially, Kamwa went into him, and then he straightened up.
Right.
But in any sport, but for you leaning on your professional experience and collegiate experience, what is your baseline expectation when it comes to officiating in a game?
Regulated by any means. If a call is a call, you call it. But if you also set the tone by letting them play, back off a little
So
bit.
you're asking for consistency.
I'm asking for it. Yes. That's all. If you allow me to get away with a quick pull of them, or you allow them to pull me a little bit on the other side, you don't call it, fine. At least I know it's both ways. Don't call me for something when you know that they've done it on the other side numerous times. Like consistency of the calls, good or bad, Shafe.
And that was the big thing with, speaking of football in the NFL, that was the big thing with Mike Vrabel this year, where he was, sending that email out, reply all, because he didn't feel like the consistency this year was there.
Yeah. And when you're really looking at the game, like I think even for the fans, even if you're getting at home cooking, I'm sure a lot of people thought, well, it's because it's in Knoxville. It's the reason that happened. But it went both ways too. And again, Auburn didn't help themselves with the flopping that they had. And that's because they have older guys that were able to understand, look, give a little bit. They gave him one earlier, and they came back and teched them up when they recognized. And I'm sure Barnes was working, the refs like, hey, that's a flop. And they scout. They do all these things in college ball. But as far as the refs goes, give me consistency on either side.
Yeah.
I want to think in that situation, most of the time a foul is not going to be called. We see it once in a while in collegiate and in the NBA where the foul is called late. But most of the times in that situation, and I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. That's another thing you can debate all day long.
So true.
But that's usually not going to get called.
There's not.
But I do think that the way he reacted kept him from getting the foul call.
I believe more and more now that's the case.
And that was consistent with how the game had been called the whole way through.
You don't think it's because Tennessee was ranked too? I just want to play that role real quick.
I don't think the ranking had anything to do with it, but was it possibly home cooking? Sure.
Yeah.
Do you think teams?
Because
I think a little bit of that.
Okay.
Any official is going to be biased. You're just going to be biased just because you're a human being. If you're at 20,000 plus at a home arena, you just are. Look, you're not going to tell me the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't get some home cooking calls from.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And that was
I
my
know.
team, but I know they did.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know they did. And a team, not so much in this situation, but a team historically, if you're the more successful team, I think there's a bias that you're more likely going to get the call.
Just like the franchise quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
They going to forever get the tap on the head. Meanwhile, Geno doesn't get the tap on the head.
The Jordan rules. Let's go back to the 90s and the Jordan rules.
Okay.
But there's a difference between bias and cheating/rigged. It's not the same thing, although I think sometimes people want to make it the same thing. Alan's in Nashville joining us here on Ramon at Kayla, Will on 104.5 The Zone. What's up, Alan?
What's up, Alan?
Hello, Alan.
Hey, good morning.
Hey,
morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
Yep.
I wanted to call. I'm a UT graduate. I'm ball for life. I bleed orange. I played basketball in high school and a little bit in college. But let me tell you, there is no question about it. No matter who says anything different, that was a foul. It should have been called. I'm glad they won, but that was a horrible call. They've made horrible calls before, and I've refereed basketball games, and I know how difficult it is. But go Vols. I love them, but bad call.
Did the kick
Yeah.
not do it for him? I want to follow up with you since you've ref before. If you've seen this happening in a game or they flopped, do you consider that
Yes.
as a no call or what?
That flop was really bad, and they caught it. But I don't think that was. I don't think that could be considered a flop because he hit his hand before the flop or the attempted flop occurred.
Yeah.
And I've called games, so I know a little bit what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, I love the Vols. I bleed orange. Like I said, I graduated way before Ramon was there. So.
All good, baby.
I was there.
All right.
I was there in Johnny's first year, and we slowly built back. And I love them, but they got that game.
Okay.
It should have gone into overtime.
Yeah.
They would have won, I believe. But anyway, go Vols, man. I love
Go
it,
Vols.
Vandy. Look out, Vandy.
Yeah. With
Well-
a little
Thank you,
trash
Alex.
But that's the
talking.
thing. There's a guy who has experienced reffing. He is a Vols fan, so everybody has their point of view on this one, for sure.
Yeah, I personally think looking at it, it was a foul. I
Yeah.
also understand why it wasn't called.
I voted no. And I also understand why they didn't call it. I do.
You voted no. What? Sorry.
On the poll if it
you
was a
voted no,
foul
okay.
or not.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't give it to him because of everything surrounding it, I feel like, in this situation. Could it have been called? Yeah. I don't think anybody would push back.
And you think flip yourself as you were the Auburn.
If I was
fan.
Auburn,
yeah.
I'm asking for it. 100%.
Would you have been like, yeah, that was? I mean, honestly, do you think that would have been if you put yourself in like an Auburn's fan?
As of late, I've been realist about stuff in sports. I feel like more real about it. I can also say, as an Auburn fan, I see why that happened. Like now, I can say in hindsight, Tennessee didn't deserve to play in the Natty because of the way we lost to South Carolina.
Sure.
And I can admit that in that time. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that plays a play into a Hendon being out. Like, yeah, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It was deserved somewhat, probably, maybe, but you get what you deserve in sports sometimes. And this was one of those no calls that was just okay.
Yeah. What was your when you first saw it live?
Yes, and what I
know, like live before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first
yeah.
reaction. Ooh, we got one.
Vols fans, was it a foul? And would you have been upset if it would have been called a foul? 615-737-1045. Also on Twitter at Ramona Kayla Will. More of that, plus Mike Wilson, Knoxville News Sentinel, will talk about the Vols from over the weekend. This is 104.5 The Zone.
It's 8:01. What's going on from the Superbook.com sports desk? I'm Robert Walsh. Here's what you missed from over the weekend. NFC topped the AFC 35-33 in the Pro Bowl Flag Football Challenge that had a lot of fun moments, including Stephon Diggs throwing an interception to his brother, Peyton Manning being visibly upset at losing to his brother, and a random cameo from Pete Davidson, who is allegedly Eli Manning's best friend. In the NBA, the Grizzlies went 2-10 out of their last 10 games after dropping one of the Toronto Raptors last night, 106-103. Desmond Bain scored 26 points and 4 assists in 33 minutes, but it wasn't enough to squeak past the Raps. Also, the Brooklyn Nets traded Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a first-round pick, and multiple second-round picks. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
It's Monday, so we're going to act like it, which means a ton of coffee, caffeine, get over those Sunday scaries, and attack the week before the big game. Good morning to you, Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone. To my left, 11-year NFL veteran and Vol for life. His name is Ramon Foster. Over to the other side, to my right across from me, broadcast journalist, and don't put a dot on top of that J, Kayla Anderson. Mm-hmm. And across from me, to just straightforward from me, a man who is named Robert Walsh. That's his government name, but we call him Bert, and he is the best substitute teacher in the world.
Nothing?
Don't call me Robert Hawkinson.
No, that's true.
Let's go.
Yeah, earlier in the show, Kayla was saying that Robert Walsh is basically the dazed and confused version of TJ Hawkinson. What's wrong, Robert? What's wrong with being compared to TJ Hawkinson?
He's a very nice dude, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is, but I'm tired. I'm
tired.
of being.
Look at it.
Well, listen, I am tired, but I'm also tired of. I feel like there's this thing that goes on in high school where all the pretty girls hang out with like ugly girls, so they look better comparatively. I'm tired of always being the ugly girl. I'm tired of people having me around to look better comparatively. That's all Buck does. You should see Buck. He invited me out this weekend just so I could stand next to him. You should see it. He's like, because he looks better comparatively. He's like, oh, don't my teeth look wide? Look how nice my beard is. Look how nice my hair is. He was wearing a black. God, let me describe. Let me paint a picture of Buck Rising going out.
Please tell me.
Yeah, please tell us.
Black turtleneck, black Levi's jacket, and black pants. And he was looking suave.
Johnny Cash?
He was looking clean. And he was looking even better than that because he was standing next to me.
So you were his wingman this weekend.
Well, listen, I can land the plane.
No.
Sure.
He might be able to take it off, but I'm going to bring that bad boy down.
Now, Bert, I always look good. I'm from Indiana.
Especially since I've lost 22 pounds.
They defeated Purdue over the
Bugs
weekend.
lost 40 plus.
I always look good. I always make sure I properly groom myself. And, Bert, I don't appreciate that. Back to the shadows, Bert.
Oh, wow.
You actually sound more like Buck than Will does right now.
It's a competition now.
That was good.
Remote Kayla and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. He does the phone number better than I can.
Yeah.
When trust matters, count on All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. All guests courtesy of the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel will join us in the next segment. We are live and in living color on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can also follow us on Twitter at Ramon at Kayla Will. We've talked about the Pro Bowl today and what activities we think should be introduced to the Pro Bowl moving forward. Basically, we're comparing it to Youth Field Day or games you would play at your family reunion or at the family picnic.
Yep.
But no shooting dice. We're not doing that. Some person said that.
How about dominoes?
Dominoes?
I used to play with my grandpa.
Too
Hey.
now.
Dominoes get serious.
Listen.
You want to talk about competitive?
Yeah.
Dominoes get serious.
Like, let me peel back the curtains a little bit. Like,
Okay.
just I owe you money, okay? that guys.
Wasn't this a plane activity?
Boo-ray. Yeah, we had like the Eminem, like guys had Eminem's. The competition, okay? Like that's the thing about like athletes. Like anything becomes a competition. Everybody, like it was the OG guys that had M&Ms at the front of the plane, betting on which one was going to make it to the back first. Like real deal. Like the amount of like, hey, young fella, y'all can't sit back here. Go up front. We got a card game going on. Like it's a cool lifestyle to see some of the stuff you see in movies. Like some of it, not all of it, actually like is a part of like the culture. Just like who was it? Washington, they got in trouble for like the brewskis on the plane. Like allegedly, like this is normal. Eli just said something about it. I think on in an interview with Will. It was just speaking about Peyton had all of the AFC managers. Learned all of their names. And when you go into each stadium, they have like the managers. They know them because the equipment crew know everybody. They're in the stadium before and after. Eli had the NFC managers and equipment crew at each stadium. He said to a T, every single one of them, when they went into the locker room after the game, there'll be a cold 24 case or 12-pack back there for them to get on the plane with. And I was just like, that is a part of what was the culture if it stays the same that way.
But there's no alcohol on the planes, Mo.
I know,
Just ask the NFL.
that's why I put that two-letter word in there.
Right.
If.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's all of these is allegations. That's all they are. Rick Ross had a great
Take your name
snippet. Yeah.
out of your mouth.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we've mentioned
Out
the Pro
your
Bowl.
mouth.
Also, UT Auburn over the weekend, the rock fight that was that basketball game on Saturday. And we have this poll currently on Twitter right now at Ramon Kayla Will. You can participate in this, and it's actually gotten closer here in the past 20 minutes. At the end of the Auburn-UT game, was it a foul? Almost 300 votes have come in. No at 51.3%. Yes at 48.7%.
Dang.
Wow.
That's close.
And again, that's where I'm of the feeling that if they would have called that a foul, UT fans wouldn't have liked it, but they'd have been like, they would have done the shrug emoji.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
The Joey Bosa.
A lot of people are making cases for it to be a foul or not a foul. We got Matt on Loxon said, he said yes because he seemed to take away his space to land. I think he jumped into a space of the defender at that point, in my opinion.
But as I've mentioned, we saw James Harden do that forever in the NBA.
Yes, he did.
We've seen that happen all the time.
But you know what's interesting about guys doing that? They also got mad at certain players who would, and defenders, those agitator types, will stick their foot underneath a landing player too. So it's weird to me that a shooter would actually kick his legs out like that, knowing that if you come down and you roll that ankle, you're done. I think that's how Steph got injured, was it not? I feel like a few years back.
A few years back. I was like, because he's injured again.
I saw that happen too. Come on, Steph.
Ed in Bowling Green joins us on Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Per some of the conversation earlier, this call may make all future callers this morning a whole lot better.
Go ahead.
I'm here for it, Ed.
Former basketball player, former referee, and I just want to make a point that I've not heard already this morning. There is a difference in between contact and a foul. Every time there's contact, it's not a foul. And you can see that up and down the court all day long during any game, high school or college. So just wanted to make that point that contact does not always constitute as a foul.
Do you still officiate to this day too, or you kind of hung it up?
No, my kids are in sports, so
Okay.
I'm watching them. But after they get out of high school, I will most likely go back because there is a significant shortage of officials in Kentucky and I'm sure Tennessee as well.
No doubt about it.
Ed, appreciate the phone call.
Definitely. Thanks, Ed.
Travis just texted me. He's still choosing violence. He's still choosing violence.
Here's the thing. I get what he's saying.
Travis is
Oh,
hurt.
yeah.
Hurt people,
Yeah.
hurt people, Travis. Don't call Aaron.
No, I'm hurt because I had to deal with his BS. I'm hurt.
No.
Slowly back away from the
No. Yeah. Text me, dog. We going to text through this, okay? I promise you we going to be good.
When Kayla becomes Kyla, that's when I'm like the Homer Simpson meme, and I just
Go into the shrubs.
back into the shadows.
Hey, Travis, blink twice if you're okay.
I understand what he's saying in terms of contact,
Yeah.
but I do think coming down, he was in that space that you could have called a foul.
The defender
I
was in the
think
space?
Incomwell was. Yeah, I do. Coming down, I do.
He didn't move.
He by the time he got down there, he did. By the time he'd come in and stopped with the guy coming down, was the player also leaning forward a little bit? Yeah, but not with it, not beyond the realm of what he's allowed to do as well. I think the fact that he flopped like a dying fish is what kept
It
him
was
from
pretty
getting
bad.
the call. It was terrible.
So was it a bad no call by the ref that was right there?
Again, you go
He
back
saw
to
the entirety of it.
You go back to the whole thing of, do you make that call late in the game? Do you make that call when somebody flops? Do you make that call when the offensive player is leaning in? Y'all, officiating is hard.
It is.
Refereeing is hard. It's really difficult. And before we go to a break, Ramon, you and I were having this conversation a week or two ago.
We were.
Have sports just become too fast for officiating to a certain extent?
I saw a referee, to your point, call a kid traveling for a Euro step. This gentleman was older. He was seasoned. And the kid made the legal amount of steps for a Euro. I think the hop triggered the ref to not actually see that it was actually legal. So to your point, maybe that's a facet of it. It's also, as Ed just said, there's a huge shortage of guys that really want to do it.
Well, here's the other thing. Why would you want to? When you're getting death threats after games if you're at the higher levels.
I've always respected it, though. Like, the refs are part of it. I don't like the idea of the robot referee in baseball games. I'm not for that. I think the factor of human error is a part of it because this is where it leads the conversation.
Everybody's fine with human error until it's an error against your team.
Of course.
Yep.
But I acknowledge that, too, though. You feel me?
Most people don't.
Huh.
Most people don't. If we give everybody truth serum, most people don't.
It would be boring, though, if we didn't have any human error.
You feel me, Kayla? Like, I'm for the human error as even if it's against me. Like, we speak about sports all the time with my kids and just stuff. Like, a strike for one is not the strike for mine. And I'm like, wait a minute. But that also adds to a lesson being taught. That also leads to the team coming closer together. I love seeing the team come together and be like, hey, it's all of them. And we make up stories in our head, plus the refs tonight. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes you closer.
Well, elite athletes will make up anything in their head in order to get. And this is not a knock.
Yeah.
Elite athletes will make up stuff in their head in order to give themselves what they think is a competitive advantage.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just don't confuse it with reality.
And to my brother-in-law's point, though, I'm okay with it sometimes.
Yeah.
Just put it in.
Unless Jerome Boger's calling the game, then it's just
And if it's Jerome
we know
Boger,
what we're going to get out of it.
If it's Jerome Boger, we know we're getting the Seattle Mariners. That's
That's
for sure.
right.
Up next from the Knoxville
First
News
down.
Sentinel,
Seattle Mariners.
Mike Wilson on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, as Kyla just chose violence here on 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon and Kayla for Old School Vapor. And you know what, Bert? We actually got something for you this time,
Yes.
man. Listen up to it. As a professional athlete, I have aches and pains that I deal with every single day. But now I found Old School Vapor, which, by the way, one of the stores look like a friggin' mall. You understand me? And they are hands down the most knowledgeable when it comes to helping me get relief.
And you're exactly right, Ramon. As soon as you walk in, then there's someone to greet you, guide you in the right direction. And pet owners, this is really important. They have so many choices for your fur babies. I love my fur babies. Well, I'm getting a new one soon. If they have separation or for travel issues, even on the 4th of July, when you get the big fireworks and they get scared. So go shop Old School Vapor selection of over 200 legal CBD products from brands like Looper, Torch, Hidden Hills, and much more.
And also, do you use Elf bars? Old School Vapor has over 100 authentic flavors for only $18.99 each. Check out their other January sales like buy one, get one free for select Esco bars, 25% off glass pipes, and 50% off a smell-proof bag.
And they're easy to find. Check them out on Instagram or Google Old School Vapor to find your nearest location.
4 convenient locations: Franklin, both ends of Spring Hill, Columbia, and more to come. That's Old School Vapor. Also, these products contain nicotine, which is an addictive chemical and must be 21 years or older to purchase, and no sales to minors.
Well, if we're going to talk about East Tennessee and all things Tennessee, we might as well talk about the Queen. That's Dolly Parton right there. Bert, did she win a Grammy for anything last night?
She should win them all.
She should always win a Grammy.
I did not see if she won a Grammy, but she won the internet last week when her team put out a statement saying Dolly Parton is not involved with any THC products. She's more of a cookie and cake kind of gal.
There we go.
How smart are those people?
Love it.
How smart are those people?
Love it. This has climbed the charts of my all-time favorite songs. Like,
You can't not like it. Or anything. How do you not like Dolly?
You'll fight somebody right
If
now.
you
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Any day.
If you don't like Dolly, you're truly un-American.
Yeah.
We can all agree upon that.
And you know what's cool about Dolly, man? Dolly lets it be known across the board. She don't care what race, religion, male, female. Dolly loves people, and the world needs more people like that, man. And I love her for that.
Well, with us talking to Dolly, now Mike Wilson has to follow that from the Knoxville News Sentinel. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, it's tough to follow the act that is Dolly Parton, so I really wish you guys would have.
Well, we have 2 words for that. You're welcome. Glad that we could help out for that. Mike, let's just get right down to it. Was it a foul that just wasn't called?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a great question to start with, especially. And we're going to start with that also after Dolly Parton, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's right.
I did not think there was a foul on the shot. It's possible Olivier Kamwa did not give Wendell Green Jr. space to land, but we have no way of knowing that because Wendell Green Jr. threw his legs in the air.
Right.
So you don't really know whether or not he was given that neutral area there to land because Green tried to create a foul out of that. So I didn't think there definitely was not a shooting foul, but was there that foul of not giving the shooter space to land? We don't really know. Again, because Wendell Green didn't land like a normal human.
That's good. I like that one.
We have actually been deciding what breed of fish he was acting like when he was flopping around in that situation.
Swordfish.
A walleye, maybe a largemouth bass, who knows. Mike Wilson, Knoxville News Sentinel, joins us here. Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Mike, my battered Vol syndrome right now is fully engaged. Talk me off the ledge when it comes to seeing these type of offensive clunkers and then projecting that forward to March.
Yeah, well, there's a thing about March where you have to win games of different styles. And the positive spin on what happened Saturday is Tennessee has now won games 56-53 and 46-43 this season, in which it shot 28% in one of those and 27% in another. That's what this defense is capable of doing for you in a matchup where it's required. So Tennessee can win games in different ways because it proved a week ago that it could win games by scoring. It scored 82 points on Texas, the number 10 team in the country at the time. So Tennessee's showing it's capable of doing both things. Now, is it comfortable at the thought of going into a March Madness NCAA tournament setting and scoring only 40-something points? Absolutely not. But the upside to that is, well, the defense is capable of holding a team like Auburn, who was ranked number 23, to less than 45. So you can win games in some ways, but I also don't think many people would ever want to watch what happened Saturday ever again in their lives.
When it comes to transitioning into these big wins, against Texas, those types of games right there, what's the separated in it? I felt like, Olivier Kamwa was big in a game like that. How come we don't see more big games out of him, or is it the Barnes system?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee went to Olivier early and often against Auburn. I think he went 0 for 5 probably in the first 5 minutes or so. That was clearly their game plan, was to go down there and give him opportunities. But it was also a very different matchup. Auburn is a bigger team than Texas is. John I. Broome is more of a true 5 than what Texas had and what Olivier typically goes up against. So I think you saw Tennessee pivot its lineups a little bit there, away from that Julian Josiah 3-4 starting lineup that they've been going with, and start playing more bigs consistently, which I think is why you saw more Tobe Awaka, who was excellent. I thought he might have had his second best game at Tennessee on Saturday, and they sorely needed that out of him. So you just thought Tennessee have to kind of pivot what it did a little bit, but at some point, Tennessee's bigs just have to be more consistent offensively and give you a little bit more at the rim, and Olivier is that answer. I think he scored double digits at Florida as well, but obviously that 27.8 rebound game against Texas was kind of what people have been waiting for his whole career. He's put up big numbers in some games, but they haven't been those games. And then he did it in a big game, but he's got to continue to be a guy that Tennessee can count on for that, because right now I think you're kind of seeing their best offense typically be Zakai Ziegler and Olivier Kamwa. And Tennessee needs those guys. It also needs Santiago Vescovi and Josiah Jordan-James to produce. So there needs to be consistency, especially from those four.
When it comes down to this team, though, as we march into March Madness soon, who's got to be the guy? You know, Zakai was pretty much out of this last game against Auburn, right? And I look and say, okay, where else are the points aside from, Josiah? When it comes down to who else do you need to see step up, like consistently moving forward?
Well, I think what we've seen is teams are going to attack Zakai and Santiago Vescovi on the perimeter. That's how teams are challenging Tennessee. They're basically saying good luck scoring inside and good luck getting enough points on the perimeter from the other guys. Now, Josiah Jordan-James did really well Saturday against Auburn, 15 points, 14 rebounds. Julian Phillips remains a guy to me that I want to see more from.
Yeah.
I thought the fact that he took 4 shots in 30 minutes at Florida was a problem, because Tennessee doesn't have a lot of take you off the dribble types. Zakai is that guy. Julian, to me, is the second best guy they've got for that. And the way Florida was guarding Tennessee, that's the exact thing they needed. And he only did it once, maybe early in the second half, after Tennessee ran a play for him on the first play of the game that got him to the free throw line. So he just really didn't contribute the way that I think you need to see him do that. So that's a guy to me. But Zakai is his show to me at this point. As he goes, Tennessee's going to go in a lot of ways, because he can create so much more. He's playing point guard until this last week anyway. He'd played point guard at an elite level for about a month.
Yeah.
Getting his teammates involved, scoring the basketball. I mean, we talk about Olivier against Texas. Zakai had 22 and 10. So that's a guy right there that I think is kind of dictating how things go right now. And everyone else needs to be a part of it. But Zakai is dictating a whole lot.
On the note of that, and we spoke with Ron Slay about Zakai Ziegler in this starter role now, not coming off the bench. Is there any way you look at this and say, okay, this is kind of new for him? Maybe, you got to find a way to pace yourself. I understand there's more season, I guess less season in the regular season to go now, but do you feel like that's something too that maybe you're a little bit worried about?
Not necessarily, and I think that's just because Zakai was always going to play these minutes regardless. I mean, even when he's coming off the bench, you were going to see minutes in the high 30s or mid 30s consistently from him, because he's the only real point guard that Tennessee has. They've been using Tyreek Key in that role. They used Santi a little bit in that on Saturday. Tyreek a little bit lingered by a sprained ankle Friday in practice, so they used Santi there, which isn't very common. Josiah Jordan-James brought the ball up a little bit too, but yeah, I mean, those were the minutes Zakai was always going to play on this team, and I think he is equipped for that.
So with the postseason right around the corner, I mean, you're looking around college basketball right now, and we've had this discussion numerous times. Like, I don't know if there is one team that you can say, oh, yeah, that's the team this year. It just seems like on any given night, these teams are going down that are top ranked.
Yeah, I mean, I do think you talk Purdue at that top spot. They were unanimous number 1 last week in both polls. They obviously lost to Indiana. I still imagine they will be number 1 this week, just lose a share of the first place votes. They've been the most consistently dominant team. I mean, a 1-point loss to Rutgers, I think, was their only loss prior to losing to Buck Rising's Indiana Hoosiers on Saturday. Sorry, we had to do it. The man is happy. We got to let him be happy once in a while.
No, we don't. He never has to be happy.
Just the little victories for Buck. He doesn't have much for him. We need to give him that. Right. So Purdue, to me, is still that number 1 team. Obviously, that next tier of Tennessee, Houston, Alabama, I mean, there's teams right there that you think are really good, but there definitely isn't that dominant one, because the teams we thought going into the year were those teams, the North Carolinas and Gonzagas, just haven't been those dominant teams that they were thought to be prior to the season. Kentucky obviously was right in that mix, and they just haven't been there either. So to me, it's Purdue's show right now, but they're also not clear-cut number 1 in the same way that I think you usually think of a dominant team this time of year.
Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel joins us here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Mike, with 8 games remaining in the regular season, home versus Bama at Kentucky. Again, not the same Kentucky team that we've seen in the past, but it's still Rupp Arena. And at Auburn, the Vols will go what and what in those final 8 games?
Man, Tennessee has Mizzou here on Saturday. Mizzou's
That's true.
not bad either.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, that's a game to pay attention to as well. This is the harder part of Tennessee's SEC schedule. They played that easier part up front, which, I mean, they're what, 8-2 in SEC play right now?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So they started off incredibly well against largely bottom dwellers. Going to Vandy on Wednesday is also an interesting one because Memorial Gymnasium is just a weird place that weird things happen in that no one on planet Earth can even try to explain. Maybe the Chinese spy balloon can actually.
Right.
But
We'll get to the spy balloons here in just a moment. We'll get to that.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Tennessee go 6-2 through this stretch. I do think that Alabama game is the one that everyone has to pay attention to because it's that high-powered Alabama offense against Tennessee's defense. Very curious to see how that one goes. Because, again, when you look ahead to March, that's the kind of thing that Tennessee might run into. Is just an offensive juggernaut. How are they going to handle that? Are they going to score enough?
Yeah.
Is their defense going to limit the team enough for them to score enough? So there's a lot that goes into that. But, yeah, the Missouri at Kentucky, at Auburn, like that's kind of a tough 4 with that in Alabama through that final stretch there.
I thought this was the tweet of the weekend, and it came from you, Mike. It's a good thing Tennessee and Auburn weren't tasked with shooting down the Chinese spy balloon, which, by the way, brilliant. Very well done.
Real good.
Yeah.
My question, though,
I
is...
got to make jokes all the time.
My question is, which team would have shot it down first, and how many shots would it have taken?
The answer is me. To shoot it down from my vantage point in Media Row. I'm not convinced that we wouldn't still be sitting in Thompson Bowling Arena waiting for that thing to fall if Tennessee and Auburn were still allowed to be involved in that international situation.
That's awesome.
And another very important question, what activity would you add to the Pro Bowl activities moving forward? We've talked Duck, Duck, Goose. We've talked musical chairs. We've talked dominoes. We've basically decided that it should either be Youth Field Day or family picnic / family reunion day type of activities.
Yeah, what was that toy in the 90s that they always had? Was it a Bop It? Was that a thing?
Skip it.
Skip it.
Yeah.
Skip It.
Skip
yeah, okay.
it.
I want offensive linemen to do a skip
Let's
it.
go.
That'd be good.
And
notice that one.
Hey, notice he targeted offensive linemen.
He
Ramon.
did.
See?
That's
Mike,
right.
Mike, we're friends, right? Why
That
did
was
you?
for you. I just want to see what you've got.
See, there you go again. Just put the O line on the
Skip
show.
it.
Put us on the what is it? The
Let's go.
elephant rotunda things they have too. Make us get on one leg and do skip it's on there. That's what everybody wants.
Hey,
man.
but-
No,
Go
it's
ahead,
just
Mike.
a chance to show off your athleticism. That's proving that offensive linemen are athletes. Like, we need people to know that.
I see you putting lipstick on a pig right now, Mike. It's all good, man. I still love you, man. It's all good.
Yeah, I'll text you sweet nothings later so you feel okay.
I got a question for you, man, because we're in a good space with the Vols, right? You'd say that.
Absolutely.
When does BVS kind of leaves a little bit? Battered Vol syndrome. When does it kind of take the back seat, or either, you know what? In this case, you stuff it in the trunk. When do we get to that point?
Does it get to that point? Because, I mean, to me, it's right there where it should.
Okay.
Baseball's number 2 entering the season. It was Omaha 2 years ago, won 57 games last year. Football won 11, went to the Orange Bowl. Things are cooking again. Basketball's been ranked in the top 5 for, 18-ish weeks in the past 5 seasons, and they've been in the top 3, I think 11 weeks in that stretch. They've been top 5, top 10 throughout most of this season. Lady Vols need to pick it up the slack just a little bit there.
That's rare to even say that.
Yeah, Tennessee has won some SEC titles in other sports throughout the season as well. In the last year, I mean, that was a big deal last week or week before when Danny White got his contract extension. So things are good. And when you talk about the big 4 sports, they're pretty darn great right now. That's a good situation. I mean, in terms of an overall healthy athletic department, Tennessee has one. And it seems like things are only getting better under Danny White's leadership. I mean, the coaches, for the most part, are cooking. Everything's rolling together. So I don't know how you get rid of it if it's not in the near future. Maybe it takes winning a natty in something. There's nothing cures all like winning a natty. So maybe that's the answer to really put that in the trunk. 'Cause I'm not sure you can fully get rid of it.
Okay.
The very positive and effervescent Mike Wilson today.
Look at that.
Look at how good of a job he does when Will's not here. It's impressive.
Right?
I don't think that's a
I save
coincidence.
my best for when he's gone.
Yeah.
Yay.
We'll have to tell him that.
I was going to make
And
a
maybe
date.
it was a Dolly Parton. Maybe Dolly just brought out the best.
I
in me.
think she did.
Dolly brings out the
She
best in
makes
all
us
of
all
us.
do better.
I think that's
She
true.
does.
We all strive to be
Proud
better.
of you, Mike.
Skip
Thanks, guys.
it.
It feels
Let's
really
add
nice.
it.
Skip it. Now I'm okay
Got
with
it.
the skip it
Skip it.
competition.
Yeah. I mean, he lied to you, but that's fine.
He
I mean,
did.
yeah,
At least he didn't make
Let's not
finessed
call
it
it a
well.
lie.
Ah.
A fib.
Would you make a move sound as the offensive line is walking past you? Would you do that, Mike? Because when we're on the practice field, when we're changing like drills, like the defensive line or the DBs will make it. Would
Yeah,
you?
that's just disrespectful. I would have a boombox standing outside y'all playing "You're Beautiful" by James Blunt.
There you go.
My man. Drinks on me, Mike. We're good to go now.
Mike,
There we go.
I'm
We get
assuming you'll be here Wednesday, correct?
Sure will.
All right. Safe travels. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, you guys, for having me.
All right.
doubt.
Mike
See you, Mike.
Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel. I remember Will telling me, you're really going to like this Mike guy. I'm like, all right, I've never met him. And then the more we have Mike on and the more ratchet he gets, the more I
Yeah.
like Mike.
100%. You can never trust Will when he's vouching for ratchetness, though.
Yeah, what I've learned with Mike Wilson, be like Mike. That's what I've learned. 'Cause he
Be
took an
like
insult to you and turned it around. He's going to be working in PR after this
flipped it.
journalism
Oh, for
thing
sure.
is
He
done.
flipped that. I got an answer, too, real quick for a question in chat. Jaya asked why the Lady Vols can't beat UConn. There's a separation of talent
Yeah.
right now.
Because
a huge one.
Because everybody but South Carolina can't beat UConn.
Exactly. In South Carolina,
Right, yeah.
UConn came close.
That was a heck of a game. Heck of
But
a game.
it's a matter of the Jimmies and Joes still in,
Yeah.
in all sports. That's why you can't beat Geno.
Next, the best thing that happened this weekend, part 2. Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5, The Zone.
All right, it is time to welcome in our good friend, Dean Glassman. And Dean from Arbor Art Shrub. Dean, tell us about everything that's going on right now with spring right around the corner. And we want not only our yards looking good, we want everything around them looking good. How can we make that possible?
Well, you just pick up the phone and call 299-9999, and you'll get Liz or Mackenzie or Matthew. Somebody in the office will answer the phone. Usually you don't get a recording unless it's after hours. So we're live all the time there from 8 to 4, so you can call the office anytime. But to get back to that, and protect your investment around your home. Right now, spring is kicking off. It's coming. It's still winter, but it's starting to get warm, and that means the trees and shrubs are going to start moving a little bit, and the bugs are going to start coming out. The pressure of the bugs and the pests around your home can wreak havoc on your shrubs. So we want to monitor that for you. Our guys are going out today. Julia and Jackson are starting their program. We start with the dormant oil this year, and that smothers the overwintering eggs that pop out, and they start to hatch when it gets warm, and that's when they start building their little families around your trees and shrubs. So we want to help you with that. 615-299-9999. Give us a call. We want to serve you if we can. Okay? Take care. Have a good week.
And that is Dean Glasscock of Arbor Art Tree and Shrub. We always appreciate his expertise. Check them out online or at arborart.net. And you can also call them at 615-299-9999. Check them out. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm going to get me a Skip It.
That commercial is up there with the Burger King jingle right now.
Right?
I sung that as a kid. You
Yeah.
said, right?
Yeah.
This is also why we in the 90s produced crazy
That's
athletes.
right.
You hear
That's
me?
right, because we started off on Skip It's.
Hula hoops, skip it. You understand me? Like legitimately.
Well, the hula hoop was way before the 90s.
Pogo sticks, like all of those
That was
things.
pogo sticks.
Like,
Yeah.
But
hey,
Skip It's, we owned Skip It's. Our generation
you better
owned
tell them
Skip
the
It's.
agility you needed for Nerf guns out here, water balloon fights. Hey, name me a better era than the 90s.
Ramon,
Oh, wait.
Kayla, and Will 104.5 The Zone with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson. I'm Jonathan Schaefer, the best substitute teacher in the world. Robert Walsh, also known as Bert, doing the show today. The Skip It commercial was because Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel in the most recent segment, when I asked him, hey, what activities should they add to the Pro Bowl moving forward? He said, skip it with offensive linemen.
Yes, he had to add in that.
And the more that I've thought about it, the more I think that may be the greatest idea I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, why not bring it back?
And there's a counter, so you have it all right there. Whatever the counter says,
Yep.
that's the win.
Yeah, 100%. There's nothing wrong with that suggestion whatsoever.
And even though he's not an offensive lineman, I would pay to see Jeffrey Simmons try to do skip it.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, you see him with the water balloon catch, the soft hands turn. That was crazy. Big Jeff didn't stand a chance.
But then he got all those weights off that the thing where they had to push the whole wall.
Yeah.
He had like 20 weights in and trying to push them all down. I'm like, whoa, Big Jeff.
That's Big Jeff. But what's crazy is the NFL used to have, I'm not sure if you saw it, Shave. I mean, I ain't going to age you or nothing like that.
I mean, I'm the oldest
You
one
just
on the
did
show.
what you just did.
I
kind
did,
of.
but like they used to have like the NFL games where like running backs and receivers used to race each other and everything. Mm-hmm. Like that was a real thing. I know some people brought up we should have weightlifting. Like guys aren't strong at the end of the season.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, man, that's
basically what we've learned is we have to be careful what activities they are to where perhaps the players get too competitive and then it becomes something else.
It becomes,
And we don't want that. We've also been talking about the final play of the game between Auburn and UT on Saturday and the controversy surrounding that. Shane is calling from Nowlands wanting to talk about UT and Auburn. Shane, what's going on?
Skip it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for taking my call. Well, just to let you know, I'm from Murfreesboro, but I've lived in New Orleans the past 4 years, and I still listen to you guys every day.
I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm calling in regards to the last play of the Tennessee-Auburn game. I'm not sure if anyone has brought up this point yet, but whoever the Auburn player was who set the screen on Ziegler did not have his feet set, and that helped to get the Auburn shooter more open, which then forced Comwall to do a late switch. And as you all know, Ziegler, he's very good at going through screens.
Yeah.
It almost has to be an illegal screen for Ziegler not to go through it, to be honest. So if the refs didn't call that moving screen by Auburn, that they couldn't call that borderline foul by Comwall, especially at the very end of the game. And so I'll hang up and listen, and go Vols.
Go Vols.
Appreciate it, Shane. Thanks.
That is the back and forth component of it too, Shafe. Like even the best refs, like give a little bit.
You're not going to get the call most of the time.
Yeah.
You're just not. Not saying it's right.
And
Travis, don't kill me.
I'm
not saying it's right. I'm just saying it is. That's the situation.
What was his
That's
reaction
sports.
if you were around him, Kayla? Was
What do
he?
you mean? What was his reaction?
Yeah.
I thought I explained it to you.
Yeah. I heard it.
I don't need to use words because those aren't appropriate for airwaves.
There it is, man. He was losing it, basically.
He was downstairs, and let's just say I heard every word.
I'm not laughing at you, Travis. I'm with you because I've been there before, dog. That's on Auburn side. I'm with him. But the other thing I charge Auburn fans is, well, why did your team miss so much? Like, where was the opportunities? Because as of late, they started to hit threes at the latter part of the game, and I'm thinking to myself, where was the rhythm? Like, you know, shoot or shoot. Like, where were y'all at those times?
The only solace I take out of that is it's a regular season game, and then they'll play perhaps in the SEC, tournament, and we'll see. So, yeah. Hey, could have been a foul. Yes. Was it a foul? Did they call it? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
One of the best things that happened this weekend, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, the Titans are set to hire former Bucs assistant DL coach Lori Locust to be a defensive assistant.
Yes.
The team has not officially announced the hiring. She would become the first female full-time assistant coach in team history. Now, she had been the Bucs' assistant defensive line coach since 2019. That included the Super Bowl 55 victory over the Chiefs. She was the third female full-time assistant coach in league history. This is not official. Nothing's been announced from the Titans, but according to Ian Rappaport, the Titans are set to hire Lori Locust as a defensive assistant.
She did tweet out, though, however, blessed to be joining the @Titans as part of Coach Vrabel 50 staff. Can't wait to get started on the next phase of my coaching career. 100% hashtag tighten up, hashtag LFG.
Hey, there you go.
I love this.
And Ramon,
Yeah.
you have a situation where I believe that the head trainer or one of the members of the training staff with the Steelers was the first full-time female trainer with several years ago.
Sonia Roof and Arico, both of them are really good. Pittsburgh's been at the front of that, and it's necessary there. The representation is always good. I'm here for that. The Titans doing this, to me, in this phase, signifies if I'm a fan of this team, I know it's going to be some people anti-women shouldn't. No. You got a coach that understands he don't care where good ideas come from. And that's the sign of an organization trying to push themselves over that hill to be like, all the things we did as Oilers, as Titans before now, hadn't worked as good. So let's figure out what's next for us. Like, there's no telling what a coach like her is going to bring to the game to where she knows she got to work way harder to be solidified, to be respected, to continue working in the NFL.
Well, what did I tell you at the Senior Bowl when we were up in the stands at the first day of practice? I pointed out that the females that were on the field, part of them actually helping the coaching staffs, and you said it. You said, "Oh yeah." You pointed out. What I appreciate about this move too is they're allowing her to advance her career. Like, you can only get so much out of one place, right?
Yeah.
And you always want to advance in even whatever you are,
for
female,
coaches?
male. Yeah. You always want to be able to advance. And for the Titans to see something in her to say, hey, look, we want you to take it to the next level. Like, I really appreciate that too, as a female on the broadcasting side of things. And don't feel sorry for me, but it's tough sometimes, right? And so this is really cool to see this.
Yep.
Coming up next, Nick Saban has hired a familiar name to be his new defensive coordinator. Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson for Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and we're both here to tell you that right now, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, they are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all your HVAC needs. You hear me? And you can reach out to them at springhillac.com. Kayla.
You know what? This family, and I say family because I mean it, they have been in business for over 10 years. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling Company, family owned, and get this, the family is a business known for their outstanding customer service. You might ask why, Ramon? Well, because, like I mentioned, it's not a company reputation. They can't hide behind that, but this is a family reputation that they rely on. They put it all on the line every single day, and they deliver all the services that those bigger corporate guys offer, but with the delivery and friendliness of family, Ramon. And they said it themselves when we went out to dinner. They're not going anywhere.
No, they're not. No, they're more personal. They're local, and you want to support local here as big as Nashville is. Help them grow with us and you and everybody else around this city. They're easy to reach out to, as Kayla told you. Instagram and Facebook, they're at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. And also, if you need to reach out to them, they are at springhillac.com. Tell them that Ramon and Kayla sent you.
Go get them.
9 o'clock. What's going on from the Superbook.com sports desk? I'm Robert Walsh. Here's what you missed over the weekend. NFC tops the AFC 35-33 in the Pro Bowl Flag Football Challenge that had a lot of fun moments, including Stephon Diggs throwing an interception to his brother, Peyton Manning being visibly upset at Eli at the result of the game, and a random cameo from Pete Davidson. In the NBA, the Grizzlies are 2 out of 10 in their last 10 games after dropping one to Toronto Raptors last night, 106-103. Desmond Bain scored 26 points and 4 assists in 33 minutes, but it was not enough to squeak past the Raps. And the Brooklyn Nets traded Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a first-round, and multiple second-round picks. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour of Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone. It's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. When trust matters, count on All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. To my left, 11-year NFL veteran and Vol for life, Ramon Foster. To my right, putting the capital J in journalist Kayla Anderson. I'm Jonathan Schaefer in for Will Bowling. Behind the glass, the best substitute teacher in the world. His name is Robert Walsh. That's his God-given name. We call him Bert here on The Zone. We are live, as always, on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can also follow us on Twitter at Ramon, Kayla, Will, and all guests courtesy of the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Our next guest will be in the next segment. Alejandro Villanueva, former Steelers and Ravens offensive tackle, also the lead NFL analyst for Fox Deportes. He will be on the call of the big game coming up on Sunday. And during the break, Bert and Ramon were fighting for custody of Alejandro since he played for both the Steelers and Ravens. Hey, Bert, I think you lost that one.
It is a house divided. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, who was he with last? Who did he leave? You know what I mean? Who did he go home with at the end of the night? He may have danced with you, but he got in the back of my car.
Legitimately, you got seconds on that one. Okay, like it's okay to say that.
So,
Bert.
are we going to tell Alejandro you called him sloppy seconds? Is that what we're going to do?
You know what? He would appreciate it.
I don't know about that.
If you know Al,
all right, well, we're
going
to
appreciate it because he's ratchet like us. You understand? He's
and,
a good time.
And Al's way bigger than you.
Al is 6'10". Like, Al's shrunk a whole lot. He's lost a lot of weight, too.
Yeah.
Like, but he is 6'10". I have to show you guys a picture of me and him next to one another. I look like a kid next to him. Like, I didn't think he was that tall. And most tall people, like, lean over, shrink themselves a little bit. When he stands up, big individual, man. Like, I told him this time and time again, like, how did you serve? Like, Al legitimately was
incredible.
over. Like, Al's the Army Ranger. You know, he's a captain. Like, he led stuff. Like
how did he hide sometimes? Because it's like,
Kayla,
you know what I'm saying, though?
faith, grace of God. Like, he would tell you that, like, to be 6'10" over there, where they're, you know, mostly, like, smaller people, or you just don't have a 6'10" Army Ranger, period. Like, here he is, like, jumping out of airplanes. Like, why did you go to Ranger school, Al? And not only that, this fool turns around and go to Carnegie Mellon and get his BA. You know what I'm saying? Like, he went while he was playing. I'm like, Al, we play the Ravens on Sunday. Why are you taking a test this Thursday? I got a class. Like, he likes a challenge. Like, Carnegie Mellon, by the way,
that's the real deal.
high institution.
Yes.
I'm talking about very
Big
high,
time.
big time. And he got in, and it was an interesting, like, couple years.
And his parents, are they from Mexico?
They're from Spain.
They're from Spain.
He's Spain. Yeah,
he's
he's
Spanish. Okay, he's Spanish.
Yeah, he's Spanish. They are, and they're also service also.
Yeah.
So, very, very tall family too. Like, that's a part of what they do.
So we will talk to him coming up about the Super Bowl on Sunday. Nick Saban rehiring a very familiar name for a very important position. According to ESPN's Chris Lowe, Kevin Steele has agreed to become Alabama's new defensive coordinator. This will be Steele's third different tenure at Alabama under Saban, who hired Tommy Rees from Notre Dame on Friday to become the Crimson Tide's offensive coordinator. The 64-year-old Steele, a 39-year coaching veteran, and was Miami's defensive coordinator last season. That didn't go well at Miami. Steele was Saban's first defensive coordinator at Alabama in 2007, moved to defensive head coach inside linebackers coach the next season, returned to Bama in 2013, and he ended up going to LSU in 2015. But now, third time's a charm. Nick Saban and Kevin Steele, a lot of people that are VFLs and bleed orange remember Kevin Steele from his days with Johnny Majors, started his coaching career there. And that weird 9 or 10 day period where he was the interim head coach between Jeremy Pruitt and Josh Heupel and that whole thingamaroll, shish kebab.
We want to all forget about, I guess.
Yeah, that was very odd. But we see the move that Saban made offensively, getting a young guy, 30 years old, and Tommy Rees, and what appears to be a movement back to a pro-style offense and a little more ball control and a little more time possession. And now going back to a guy that has had a lot of success in his many coaching stops, which is consistent with people that can get the job done in coaching. You usually go to a lot of different places, but Kevin Steele, who is a proven commodity, now going back to Alabama.
Little interesting. Not for the fact that it's Kevin Steele, because we know that he has been places he has had success, but you look at Saban and the hire that he made offensively with Tommy Rees, like you mentioned, a younger guy, and then you go and do the complete opposite on the defensive side of the ball and getting a guy like Kevin Steele, who you said is 64 years old. Saban's in his 70s now?
Yeah, 71.
Or right around 70,
So a little bit surprising, but at the same time I look at it, like Nick Saban's running the show defensively, right? Can we all say, like, we really do probably understand that he's the guy that ultimately has the say. But I will say this is going to go one or the other way this year, because these are two huge positions that they had to hire for that, like, it's going to have to work out well because they had the top recruiting class. They've got the talent. That is not dropped off at all. You saw a little bit of digression with this Alabama team, and now you got two coordinators completely different in terms of the age. What are we going to see out of this Alabama team? I'm seriously interested.
You're going to have to show me. Like me, I'm a little bit past the BVS, battered ball syndrome. We were having this conversation in the car on our ride up. Will is super anti the offensive coordinator. Tommy Rees?
Tommy Rees, he
Tommy
does not
Rees,
which I don't understand.
think about.
Well, Will said he wasn't really blazing the fire also in Notre Dame.
He was
now, Will
doing
can
fine
call
at
in
Notre
and correct us if I'm off on his wording. But Kayla, his sentiments towards Rees was what? This is a step back.
Yeah, he was like, Vols fans should be happy.
They should be happy. And I get it. Have to probably get Mike Golick Jr. on at some point because I think they played together.
That's his guy.
That's his guy. And just, I look at this and say, you got a young guy. You probably want to go more traditional offenses, right? But I don't know if he has the quarterbacks for that. But
but I think offensively, we're going to find out what he's got at quarterback. I think it is a stylistic change offensively going with Tommy Rees, who ran more 12 scheme and tight end and ran the ball a little bit more. I think Nick would like to do that a little bit more moving forward. Now, look, he's changed offensive philosophies before.
He has.
So that's not that's not a big deal that they're shifting their offensive philosophy again. And look, the defense with Nick Saban, I'm not going to say it's been exactly the same, but it's a Nick Saban defense.
It is.
It is. Let me ask y'all this, so let's have this conversation. Do we give too much benefit of the doubt when it comes down to Nick Saban and the fact that Alabama's bulletproof because they have all these 5 stars? Yeah. Is that why you go get a guy? Like, do you believe that, or do you have to say, show me? Because I'm a show me guy.
Because he's earned it. Because he had shown it. How many times has he had to change assistants and has still consistently won?
And that's what I was going to say. If I really would be interested in if somebody, and maybe I'll just do this in some spare time, go through and say how many assistants have ran through Alabama under Nick Saban. A lot of them not there for too long, and they continue to have the amount of success that they have.
Well,
they're able to sustain that.
Maybe I'm speaking from why am I side-eyeing Alabama more now? And it ain't the UT
Yeah.
win.
I mean,
It ain't that. I promise. Because that win could have went either way, right?
what teams have continued to rise, though, in the SEC?
Georgia.
Yeah.
Tennessee's gotten in a little bit. I look at A&M. I don't think they stay. I think Petrino to A&M may be the biggest hire of all SEC right now.
And we talked about that on the car ride, too.
That, to me, is more dangerous than Saban and Steele and Reese to me. Because I know what Petrino
And now
brings.
look at LSU now that Ed O's out.
Yes. And LSU is also in the conversation. Auburn should be back in the conversation.
I don't think you're side-eyeing Alabama compared to its past, but you're side-eyeing Alabama because Georgia right now is the new number one. I think that's why you're
That
doing
may
it.
be it.
Because Georgia just won back-to-back national championships.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody looks at Nick as the boogeyman. And I'm not into
Well, it's
the
because he
boogeyman.
is. He has been.
He has been. He absolutely has been.
Yeah, maybe he's not as much of the boogeyman today as he has been, but he's been the boogeyman. He's the most successful coach in college football history. So he is the boogeyman.
But I also look at it, too, as sports go in waves.
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe, and this is my Vol side, it's coming out right now. I want to believe that the pendulum is swinging low.
Yeah. Well, and sorry, Emmett's saying he's confused by what I'm saying. All I'm saying, Emmett, is that Saban has been able to sustain success at a high level with the amount of assistants that go in and out of his system because they go there, they do what they do, and then they go get head coaching jobs or they get a better job somewhere else. So that's what I'm saying. He's still been able to be consistent in terms of winning no matter who comes in and how long they stay.
It's a term that Andy Staples uses on his show, dudes everywhere.
Yes.
It's because they always have dudes everywhere. And here's the thing. I understand why you look at Alabama a little side-eye-ish. Because Georgia's now on top.
Yep.
But let's also remember, last second field goal, overtime against LSU.
Oh, I acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I do.
So,
Mm-hmm.
because now we're just talking about a matter of degree when it comes to Alabama. Is Alabama now leaps and bounds above everybody else? No. They've been pulled back. But the thing is, no team, collegiate or professional, can stay at the top forever. But they're still very much in that mix.
I'm with that.
To see where they're going to be the boogeyman until they're not the boogeyman.
And these are two, and this is happening at the same time that they're getting an offensive coordinator new and a defensive coordinator new.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like once in a while, it's like, okay, they're hiring an offensive coordinator, but the defensive guy's there. Right. Now those are two big coaching positions that were filled.
And the fact remains they have dudes everywhere.
And now I was just going to say, but the fact they got nine, y'all.
That's it.
Yeah.
9.
That's insane.
Hey, look, that's still the thing that matters the most.
9.
5, right? 5.
And the TCU story was a great story.
Beautiful. Cool.
And they just happened to get walloped in that national championship game to where I don't think Georgia's 50-plus points better than TCU. Just TCU, that snowball started heading downhill and they couldn't stop it.
Yep.
But now with the expanded playoff, the TCUs of the world, it's going to be more, in my opinion, like March Madness. You're going to enjoy those early rounds for the upsets.
Mm-hmm.
But the Blue Bloods, for the most part, are going to rule the roost when you get a little bit further along.
Yep.
Former NFL offensive tackle and lead analyst for Fox Deportes, Alejandro Villanueva, coming up next. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn. And when I say Secure Lawn, it's one of those things like if you know, then you know, because they are a company that's been around for a long time, 20 years here in the Nashville market, man. And they've been building up a solid reputation, as I said, for 20 years, offering neighborly advice and legendary service too. And why do they do that? Well, they're family owned and operated and local. They don't make you sign any kind of contracts. In fact, if you're unhappy with your service, they will do everything they can to make it right. And if you're still unhappy, they will give you your money back on your last treatment. This is unheard of customer service. And right now, if you're like me, you're the ones who walk around your yard looking at how green it is, even when it's cold. You obsessively care about your grass. Your spouses and friends tell you that you talk about your grass more than you talk about your kids, okay? You want to be the envy of your neighbors. I'm talking to you and I'm talking to me. Right now is the time to be applying crabgrass and broadleaf control to your lawn, and the people that can do that, Secure Lawn. There is no one better. They've been serving Middle Tennessee for a very long time, and they protect all types of grass, and they service residential, commercial, and even athletic fields for you high school coaches and middle school coaches out there. So get a head start on your yard and call Secure Lawn. Their number is 615-893-8455 or go to securelawn.com.
9:25, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. As we're wrapping up our morning, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Jonathan Schaefer in for Will Bowling, and we are very happily set to be joined by former Steelers and Ravens offensive tackle, also lead NFL analyst for Fox Deportes, Alejandro Villanueva joins us here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Al, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How's it going?
Good.
We're doing great, and we're going to get right to business, Al, when it comes to this Super Bowl matchup. I think the line is -1.5 for the Eagles right now. It looks like a very evenly matched game, which hasn't always been the case throughout Super Bowl history. How do you approach this game as you'll be calling it on Sunday?
So I have to say that even though I'm the lead analyst for Fox Deportes, I think it's obviously a title that I've done or a job because I'm probably the only Spanish-speaking NFL player, or one of the very few. But for me to be an analyst or for me to have any insight whatsoever into football, with lines and whatnot, is completely ludicrous.
Not necessarily handicapping the game, but just what's your take between the two teams?
Yeah, because you played for Philly.
No, bro, I didn't play for Philly. I was trying to make it into the NFL with Philly. I'm obviously really good friends with Jason Kelsey. I saw Mailata when he was coming out, and he was asking me a lot of questions about coming to America and whatnot. But I don't have any affiliation, towards any of the teams. What I do know is that if the game is not close, it's very difficult to talk about things during the game. So I cover the NFC games with the Philly and the Giants. And they beat him so bad that for me to as a first game calling ever, to try to come up with things to talk about became very, very difficult, extremely difficult, because you have to talk about the game is obviously not as interesting, and and you're trying to explain what's happening, which is just an ass whooping, and so it's very, very difficult to do. But anyway. That's what I like about the NFL. It always works towards keeping the games close and towards changing all the rules. And so, hopefully the game stays close all the way to the end, and it becomes a very easy job to translate and show this game to a Spanish-speaking audience.
So you said the rules changing. You're saying it's all scripted then. That's what you're saying, Big Al, right?
I love that when Arian Foster, talked about the whole scripted of the NFL, because it's one of those things where you don't know. I mean, it's such an amazing question. It's like I blame it on the Matrix. I blame it on the fact that when I was 10, 11 years old, the Matrix was that first DVD movie that came out, and we all watched it and was like, bro, that could be real. That's crazy. And so I think a lot of people have that perspective on the NFL because it is. I think as an offensive lineman, here's my take on this. And I guess I'm free to say this now, which is amazing.
Speak your piece.
Right. When you live in Miami, you feel like nobody ever judges you because, whatever. People in Miami are crazy. I thought that the holding call for offensive linemen was crazy. It was an absolutely insane penalty because every offensive lineman holds every single play. Every single play. Ramon Foster he was known as the clamper. I was a clamper.
Clamper.
There was no technique, and I learned how to play for Ramon. Ramon was teaching me. I was like, right, you want to make some dough in this business. This is what you got to do. And I was like, okay, Ramon, okay, I got you. So you hold every play, and then the referees basically call the flag. Obviously sometimes it's egregious, but sometimes you're like, whoa, there's no way. And so a lot of times, I do remember that if we were leading up by 2 touchdowns, we're all like, careful with the flags now because we start running the ball because they want to try to keep this game close. Because there's a statistical if you get a holding call on a drive, there's an 80% chance that the ball goes to the other team. So that's when I was like holding call 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Like that's a little crazy, isn't it? Like we're gonna repeat the play at maybe 5 yards and about 10 yards. That's basically like killing the drive. So I'm not saying it's scripted. I'm just saying it's very incentivized reaction of the referee, I guess.
You're saying it's not scripted, but it's very convenient, I guess is the way you're going.
Yeah. I don't know. That's something we'll never know. That's what's talking about watching The Matrix. You'll never know.
You know you got your script. We got it every year in training camp, Al.
I know, but it's funny that it's called a script too. You know, Ramon? Like, like when you said it, I was like, oh my God, it's called a script. But no, obviously anything can happen in any play. I mean, I play a receiver. Something that Ramon doesn't know about. I mean,
Stop! There you go. Don't even do this Army thing where you went there to play wide receiver, Al. You barely caught any passes.
My first plays in the NFL were as a receiver too, which is crazy. I remember lining up wide and looking at Aaron Donald. I mean, I want to stay out here. I want to stay in the numbers. I don't want to go. I don't want to go in the box.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. There's. I don't know. I think it's a great. I mean, the way I see it now, and this is another learning sort of moment for me, is being in the media is that you do feel that you're promoting things and you're trying to do a good job to put a good product, and people care about the things that are said in meetings, production meetings. I'm like, well, this production meeting concept is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking the whole time, what happens when like somebody figures out that like ChatGPT can like generate amazing storylines and amazing everything, and all of a sudden we're logging into a computer to hear about the NFL. So I don't know if it's scripted. I think the NFL is a business. It has moved to LA. It's like. It'll be very difficult to explain the difference between, the NFL and a movie studio maybe at some point. But for now, it is a very amazing product. And I like it because it talks so much about American culture and the things that we care about, how we reflect ourselves and the things that happen on the football team. And in this case, Philadelphia Eagles, how, they have such an amazing roster. They've been able to do it through, a great work at the GM level, and a good system, and the Chiefs and Mahomes, the superstar that it is now, and Andy Reid, Juju, our boy out there, playing. I don't know. It's just for me, it seems a little more trivial, I guess. It's just more about the entertainment.
Al, you are by far one of the best BSers I ever have as a friend, okay? I just need you to know that. And I missed you. I just got to say that in front of everybody before we dive deep and I make you answer something, okay? Baltimore or Pittsburgh? Because Bert behind the glass is saying that you're Baltimore all the way through. I just need to know where your heart lies. Now, BS your way through this.
No, I cannot BS you my way through this. I mean, I'm sitting in my yard talking to you on the phone. Obviously, I'm gonna try to like make it as polite as possible. I liked obviously the fact that I spent. The only thing that I thought was unique about my career, the thing that I liked the most about my career, the thing about my career that I think, will be the only thing that I'll remember, is the fact that if I talk to people around the NFL and I share my story with somebody, another player, the only thing that I've ever understood to be so unique about my experience, truly, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I was an Army, is the fact that I was able to be with the same offensive line for almost 6-7 years, the whole entire time I was there. And so because of that, I had a relationship with everybody in the O-line. I had a relationship with the coaches. I had a relationship with the quarterback. That it felt like we were characters at the office. It wasn't an experience that was filled with the stress or like the anxiety related to playing football and maybe have that competition between your teammates and who's gonna get It was nothing like that at all. Pittsburgh was an amazing family environment. It was, Coach Tomlin was. I mean, it's very difficult to explain, our coffee breaks, and going to get coffee and then just having 5 minutes to get in a conversation with Coach Tomlin and trying to extend the conversation as long as possible so that we wouldn't go into meetings and that we would make the day a little bit more entertainment. And we were winning. We were playing at such high level. But that I think became secondary. And so once you retired, and it's funny because I guess most people don't understand the conversations that you have about retirement in the offensive line. We're counting the days. We were like, oh my God, like a calendar. And so you retire, Pouncey retired, Dave retired. I wasn't with the Steelers anymore, so I was like, oh man, it's going to be, whatever it is, it's never going to compare. But
Right.
let me try it out. Let me see if I can airborne ranger this thing. And then I got to Baltimore. It was an amazing team, an incredible organization as well, but very, very different from what I understood that the NFL was.
Yeah.
So I made amazing friends, great people. Coaches are very professional and very unique in their own ways. They all have their different approaches and views of the game of football, But for me, it was one of those things where I knew I was not going to have friends for 6-7 years like I did in Pittsburgh. So, Dave still lives in the same house. You know how much time I spent with Dave.
Yeah.
It's impossible for me to say, oh yeah, I want to pick somebody that I met over a year or someone like Dave that I drove to work with for 7 years.
Alejandro, I'm interested to then get your perspective. You were a Pro Bowler back when it was more of the game format. Now we've seen this skills kind of competition. We were talking about it today, and you had mentioned just the entertainment part. This is more so for the fans more than anything. Did you get to see any of it, and what were your thoughts?
I thought the Pro Bowl now looking back, was a very interesting time for me because it was almost like it has a little bit of an air of the insecurity bowl a little bit because everybody's so used to being the man in their teams, and then when they go to a team of all the mans, then how do you separate yourself? Through practice, through let's see who does the practices the slowest, and so. That to me was very much related to the fact that the Pro Bowl, being selected for the Pro Bowl in the NFL as a player, is a very, I wouldn't say controversial thing, but it's it's so subjective and it's based on so many things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not based, talent. Like who knows who's like you, because we watch ourselves all the time. I mean, you have to understand how a player is thinking. A player is thinking. I'm watching all the tackles in the NFL because we're playing against teams and we're watching their film, so you know how they're playing, and then you're watching and it's like, man, that's a great tackle. It's an amazing tackle. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just depends. He's dealing in this film right now against this player. He's dealing in a situation where they fumble the ball 3 times and now they have to come back from 21 points, and you're watching the game. And you're watching this edge rusher just pass rush all day, beam. I mean, just nonstop. And then, he beats him or whatever. So you're like, okay, well, obviously, if he does that to me, he's definitely going to beat me. I mean, if you're passing the ball the whole time and for some reason the game is not working, then obviously he's not going to be able to do it. And so you watch a lot of tackles and players and offensive linemen like this, and then you realize that at the end, the record matters, the few highlight plays, whatever it is. And so because of that, when you go into the Pro Bowl, then everybody sort of is asking themselves that question as well. And then, obviously you got to then establish the dynamics of what do you do. And so I think that has a lot to do with the evolution of the Pro Bowl. I mean, the players were not motivated to play because, again, they were just like, if I try too hard, that means that I don't believe that I'm that good. Maybe I don't know. I'm just saying. And then, now it evolves into let's try to show the personalities of the players and that
sure.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's an interesting thing. I dealt with the same thing with awards in the military. I thought the awards in the military, they have a weird effect on people too because they're so subjective, but you need to have them for morale or for people to push themselves. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because soccer doesn't have a Pro Bowl. Soccer doesn't.
True.
I never grew up with a concept of we're going to gather all the best players and we're going to give them a title every year. There's that they have the Ballon d'Or, they have the golden.
Yeah, the Ballon d'Or. Yep.
But nobody tracks it. Nobody cares who's winning it every year. Maybe it'll show up. Oh yeah, so and so won it. But people don't care about individual awards in a team sport. Is what I'm trying to say. You can win more individual awards in football than you can collectively. That's crazy to think about. You can win you can be a man of the year, all Pro Bowl, this and that, and at the individual level, which is crazy. In football, I guess if you understand anything about football, is that it truly is a team sport. I mean, everybody has to be, involved in the running game, the passing game, the morale every single day, working out, coaches, everything. So it's a little bit, in my opinion, it's a little bit cultural and interesting to see than being able, whatever the transformations are going on with the Provo right now.
Al, in his final season in the league, the people at Madden said Ramon Foster was the slowest player in the NFL. Can you confirm or deny what Madden viewed Ramon's speed at?
Tell him, Al.
No. He wasn't the slowest player in the NFL.
Thank
no way.
you.
No, he just did it. I mean, he was always moving. Here's another thing. You gotta learn how to conserve energy as well. You're not gonna,
Trust me, we see that every morning. Trust me.
Yeah. Like when they show it, when you're young, you gotta run to the ball every single time, and you're like, hold on a minute, Bob. I played 10 years, and I can't run to the ball every single time. You don't see 10-year player running to the ball every single time. So.
No, and then you adapted my ways because we learned how to conserve because we was on the front side of blocking.
Conserve.
Hell yeah, you figure it out. You gotta allow. I mean, it's that's a whole other subject. But we play the NFL sober. There's a lot of players out there that are very energized.
Alejandro, we've got to run. We're out of time, but thank you for joining us, reminiscing a little bit with Ramon.
Thank you.
Good luck on the call Sunday for Fox Deportes.
Thank you so much. Nobody understands it anyway, so I'm good. Trust me.
I love the language, Alejandro.
I'm going to speak perfect Spanish, trust me.
Speak it all.
What's crazy is now you're on the media side, and y'all gave me crap for being on the media. Now look at you on the broadcast.
I'm only doing this for this year. Then I'm going back to fishing and hanging out with my kids.
Stop.
Yeah, he knows his role.
Yeah.
No,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gracias, Alejandro.
Hey.
Thank you, my brother.
Hasta luego, nos vemos.
Appreciate it very much, Alejandro Villanueva.
Hey.
I'd love to do a podcast with him, actually.
Yeah.
A podcast episode with him.
I'm sorry, but that's one of my favorite languages, Spanish. I just think like speaking it, it's so interesting to listen to.
Listen, you ain't even tapped. You ain't even scratched the surface with Al. That's a deep conversation.
Did he speak a lot of Spanish with you guys, like in the locker room?
He
Would
wouldn't
he tell you off?
Would he speak it?
No, he wouldn't. But
Okay.
you can tell, like, English is second or third to him. I think he speaks 8 different languages.
Incredible.
Next, Mi Casa, Su Casa, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Played by a band that won a Grammy yesterday, 9:49 in what is truly America's Music City. That is the aristocrat of bands, as TSU made history, winning a Grammy in the Best Roots Gospel Album category. They are the first collegiate marching band to ever win a Grammy, and kudos, congratulations to them. And, of course, the aristocrat of bands, extremely well known, especially in these parts. I've heard them playing that song as they've marched up Jefferson Street during homecoming up there at TSU. So congratulations to them for that incredible achievement, that incredible honor. And I think I can safely say all of us here in Nashville really, really proud and happy for that.
Very much so. Congratulations to him, man. That's just one of the many highlights that's deserved from TSU. The band, like I said, I got friends that played in the band at TSU, and they couldn't wait to tell you how more important they were than all sports teams there. And for now, they have even more proper respect because a Grammy, like holding
That's crazy.
that trophy is.
Yeah, they can literally go to games next year and just be like, oh, hey.
We're Grammy winners.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they actually, if you want to go look at it too, Tennessee State University tweeted out when it happened, and they were all watching, and just the reaction from everybody. They have a huge group here. It was
I'm not
really
going to lie to you.
cool.
I was a little teary-eyed.
What are you saying?
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
Yeah, they're all just jumping
that
up
was
and
so
down,
great.
and what a cool thing.
That's so
beyond respect, man.
And
Big
congrats to
time.
our friend Sleazy, who was a member of that band at one period of time. It works over
That's
92
right.
Kids.
Sleazy was a part of that.
Congratulations to him.
Also, big shout out to Sleazy for hooking me up with a lighter.
Right?
Yeah, we need to discuss that.
Look at
Saved my
that.
whole morning.
First of all, for anybody under 18 that may be listening
21
right now,
now.
well, 21
Earmuffs.
too. Do not grow up with Bert being your inspiration. He is not your role model, much like Charles Barkley. Bert, you had a little bit of a rough weekend, should we say?
Oh my gosh, man. Okay, I'm just like you're not looking at me to be a role model. Here's one thing you can look at me for, guys. There are 3 things that a relationship cannot overcome if you have to do all of these in 1 year.
Yes.
1 is if your girlfriend asks, "Do I look fat in this?" and you say yes.
Ooh.
2 is having to put together IKEA furniture together.
Ooh.
And 3 is moving. And me and my girlfriend bumped heads so many times this weekend moving because we didn't get a moving company. We did it all ourselves. So everything from loading the U-Haul to packing, everything, we were upset at each other. And then to make it worse, we get to the house, the water's not turned on yet. We had food that will make you use the bathroom. So when I used the bathroom, she was upset at me for it smelling very bad in the house. We had a lot of head bumping, but that's okay because I'm coming home after this show. I'm taking my cats on the catwalk, and I'm going to bed.
What do you mean you're taking your cats on a catwalk?
Well,
what are you talking
it's a
about?
new neighborhood. If they ever got out, I want them to know where they live
You're
at.
gonna take the
you.
cats outside and walk them
You
around.
got a leash for
That's
your cat?
responsible.
Yeah, well, I just walk around. So they like to look out the window. They like to kind of see what their environment is. So I'm going to take them on a walk, show them like, all right, this is where we live. If you ever get lost, come back here, ring the doorbell. Daddy will let you back in. I don't have a cat door for them, but we're going to figure it out. I got to take care of my little fur babies.
And before the show, Bert even told me last night, I'm going to be struggling, dog, because he'd been moving all weekend.
Yeah.
So he comes in this morning, and he doesn't have his lighter. And you would have thought that somebody had removed his foot.
They did. They did.
I was peg-legging around here, dude. I needed a little pick-me-up. I needed something. You can't go stand out there on the mezzanine and just look. You got to do something. You got to do something.
So
And you found it.
Yeah, the aforementioned Sleazy was able to hook him up with a lighter. Are you feeling better, Bert? You doing okay?
Anytime I get to hang out with you guys, I'm feeling better. Always makes my morning.
Oh, ditto. Right back at you.
You say that with us, and you actually do mean it.
Oh, yeah. When I say it to Buck, I'm lying. It's through my teeth.
That's how most of us feel
Our
when we
little
talk to
Bert
Buck.
Hawkinson.
Yeah, Bert Hawkinson in there. Well, fun show today, guys. Tomorrow we will have Mr. SEC Network Ron Slay will join us tomorrow before he and the 3HL crew head out to Radio Row in Arizona. And them going to Arizona thanks to Mitsubishi Electric.
Yeah.
Also, coverage brought to you by Dairy Berry's Heat and Air. You can find out more 1045thezone.com. For Ramon Foster, for Kayla Anderson, for Bert Hawkinson, I'm Jonathan Schaefer in for Will Bowling. And Ramon, tell the people what they need to do.
You must remember that your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.